With Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Got to get to the 35 or the Chiefs win. 4th and 26. Willis puts it up. It's incomplete and it's over. And Kansas City wins in overtime.
I feel terrible for the players that compete, put so much into this and play through pain, through discomfort, through any situation. I'm lucky that I get to coach them. They fight, and we got to get back to work. We got to get healthy, and we got to get some rest and figure out a way to beat Denver coming off another bye.
There you go. Titans losers last night on Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs. Again, final score, Titans, unfortunately, falling in overtime to Kansas City. Now, Caroline's here today. Stillman & Company, delivered by TriStar Moving. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Caroline's here today. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, how we doing?
Outstanding. Ian is here today. Hello, Ian.
What up, what up?
All right, let's get right to the game. Let's just get right into it. We got the good and we got the bad. What do we want to start with? The good or the bad?
The bad.
Okay. The bad is that the Tennessee Titans had a golden opportunity in front of them. Because if they had won this game at Kansas City, let's just be real. The NFL, it's November. It's not September anymore, where a team like Detroit beats Green Bay. And it's like, well, that's just one game right here. We know who's bad. We know. Right now, Denver stinks. Jacksonville stinks. Twice you play them. Houston stinks. Green Bay stinks. So all these teams left on the schedule outside of Philadelphia and Dallas. Cincinnati, with the way the Titans' defensive line's playing right now.
They don't stink, but they're not all that great.
So if the Titans beat the Chiefs, chances are we're looking at a 12 or 13 win team that is going to either be the number 1 seed or no worse than the number 2 seed in the AFC. And that would mean that Kansas City Chiefs team would have to come here to Nashville for an AFC divisional playoff if the Titans are number 2 and Kansas City is number 3, no matter what else happens in the AFC. As long as you win that first game and they win that first game, Kansas City is coming to Nashville where they do not win with Andy Reid as the coach. Because what did I tell you all last week? The Titans are a bad matchup for Kansas City. But the Titans lost yesterday, and I'm going to tell you why the Titans lost yesterday. Because of the arrogance that the Tennessee Titans had to not have a backup quarterback on this team. I don't know if Malik Willis will ever be good. I really don't. But I told you all in training camp, this guy is not ready to play in the NFL. And everybody said, but Jared, it's practice. That's all it is. It's just practice. Right. And if a guy screws up in practice,
he'll screw up in a game.
Chances are pretty good he's going to screw up in the game. In fact, I actually pulled my notes from the Arizona Cardinals practice in which Malik Willis got 2 2-minute drives. What did he do? The first one, he threw the ball away on 4th down, not thinking. And the second one, he threw an interception on the 3rd pass. What happened in the 2-minute drive last night in overtime where Derrick Henry can't help him? Malik Willis took a sack on 2nd down, and he took a sack on 3rd down. Malik Willis has no business playing quarterback in the NFL. It's not Malik's fault that he is in no position right now to help this team win. But that is the reality of where the Titans find themselves. And my guess is, if I knew that in training camp, then they did too. We talked about it all training camp long about if Malik Willis is the backup quarterback, that means that Ryan Tannehill is one sprained ankle away from Malik Willis having to come in a game, I don't know, on the road at Kansas City. Can Malik Willis win that game? And the answer is no. The defense gave the Titans all they could have asked for yesterday. 41 minutes on the field.
That's ridiculous.
Derrick Henry averaged 6 yards a crack yesterday. The defense got a turnover. Special teams wasn't horrendous. The Titans did their job. They just didn't have a quarterback last night. And they didn't have a starting quarterback because for some unknown reason he couldn't go. And they didn't have a backup quarterback because they just figured they didn't need one. Roster malpractice by the Tennessee Titans. I told you all in training camp. I told you all at the start of the season. I told you all during the Colts game when Tannehill went down. I was like, oh, no, they're screwed if Malik has to play. And then I told you all last Monday after the Texan game, I said they need another backup quarterback. They need a backup quarterback, as in somebody who is a backup. Because if Matt Barkley is playing quarterback for the Titans last night, they win.
Is it all that different, though?
Yes.
Because if Matt Barkley is the quarterback, does Chris Conley catch that ball?
Because
that ball was placed perfectly in front of him.
The throw to Chigakonkwo on the sidelines, that's completed. The one that Malik missed, again. That ball puts them in field goal range. They kick a field goal, they win. That's it. Now, look, they could have won the game regardless of having Malik out there. If they stop Patrick Mahomes on 3rd and 17, they probably win the game. But I go back to this. You can't throw for 80 yards in a game against the Chiefs and expect to win. And the Titans knew better. They knew better. If I knew better, they knew better. Yes, you win with Matt Barkley. Yes, you win with Sean Mannion. Yes, you win with Case Keenum, the backup in Buffalo. Chad Henne, the backup in Kansas City. Gardner Minshew, the backup in Philadelphia. Why do all these good teams not have backups who've never played in the NFL before? I don't get it. But apparently, you do. So the Titans lost because of the arrogance that they've had at the backup quarterback position. Now you ready for the good?
Sure.
Titans are contenders because that defense is so freaking good. That defensive line. Now, Bud Dupree's hip is going to drive me to the crazy, it drive me insane. With every 2 weeks, it's like, oh, Bud's hip's hurt again, and that's driving me nuts. And it makes a difference when he's in there or out of there. But that defensive line is dominant. That defensive line is New York Giants Super Bowl caliber good. And that is a big, to me, that is a big, this defensive line is that good. And not only that, what I learned last night is I watched Buffalo play the Jets. And I know the Titans are not a great matchup for Buffalo, but I think it's obvious that if Josh Allen has a bad day and the Titans play well and they don't stick Caleb Farley out on the field like they did the first time, I think they can compete with that team. The Titans obviously can compete with Kansas City. If you can compete with Kansas City without a quarterback, my God, what does that tell you about your football team? And this team, they played their tails off. And they play with such discipline. They are so, they're so good at tackling. They're so good at where they're supposed to be and being there, their responsibilities. You notice nobody, for the most part, got beat deep. Now, Byard got beat deep once, and Mahomes missed him. But other than that, nobody got beat deep last night. Everything that Kansas City got, they had to earn. Vrabel said it on the coaches show on Tuesday that the key on defense was to make them earn every drive. And when Kansas City scored touchdowns, it was like 13-play drives, 17-play drives. Now, I don't like the fact that when Bud Dupree went out, Weaver was in. And I really think Weaver is, you know how they always say that a band is always as strong as its weakest instrument? Mm-hmm. I think Weaver brings down the entire defensive line when he's out there, just because he plays with no discipline. The other guys all have discipline, whether it's DeMarcus Walker, Simmons, Autry, Bud Dupree, Kevin Strong when he's healthy, all those guys. Tart was a beast last night. All those guys play with discipline. David Long, Cunningham had a good game, Dylan Cole, like all those guys do what they're supposed to do. And I mean, let me tell you this about the Tennessee Titans. I know that we've sat here and for years we want the Titans to have the quarterback. Whether it's Brady or Rodgers or Mahomes or Allen or Burrow or whomever. For years we've like, why can't the Titans have this guy? But they've got the coach. Because last night, they played Titan ball last night. They went into Kansas City and the Titans said, this is how we're going to play And Kansas City had to play that way. And it was obvious from the beginning that it was in Kansas City's head because they were pushing the Titans and they were after the play early.
They were chippy.
And the Titans got down 9-0 and they still didn't relent. So, I mean, right now, the way I look at it is I remember when the Titans beat the Chiefs in 2019. They beat them at Nissan Stadium, and it had that kind of miracle feel to it, right? Like the Chiefs had to screw up 2 field goals. They dropped a ball, and Rashaan Evans picked it up and ran it into the end zone for a touchdown. Tannehill had an unbelievable fourth-quarter comeback drive with a game-winning touchdown. Derrick Henry ran for 180-plus yards. All these, crazy things happened in that game, and they barely won by the skin of their butts against Kansas City. Last night, everything bad had to happen to the Titans. Quarterback out. They had to put in a novice in there that had no idea what he was doing out there and is not good right now. They had to get a miracle from Patrick Mahomes running the football, although that is apparently something that the Titans struggle with when it comes to Mahomes. They had to get again, I'm not a blame the refs guy, but unbelievable officiating out of Carl Cheffers and their crew. They were horrendous last night. Everything had to go right for Kansas City. The Noah Gray catch in overtime where Roger McCreary has him and the ball tips in the air and Noah Gray, whoever the hell that is, comes down with that pass. I guarantee you Vrabel said going into the game, we're not letting Kelsey beat us. We're not letting Hardeman beat us. So if they end up winning the game because of Kadarius Toney or Noah Gray, fine, but they had to have that. Everything had to go right for Kansas City. They had to get 400 yards from Mahomes. They had to have this unbelievable game, the non-pass interference call on Austin Hooper, the bullcrap Travis Kelce. They had to get everything, and they still barely beat the Titans. So to me, this was a measuring stick game, and the Titans were right there with Kansas City, should have won the game, and did it without a quarterback. Not without their quarterback, without a quarterback. So I got to tell you, I feel great about this. Now, I don't like the Tannehill thing, and I think Malik stinks, but I feel great about it. I really do. I came out of last night, and again, I'm disappointed that I felt like the Titans had 3 separate opportunities to win the game. I felt like they had an opportunity to win the game in the fourth quarter when they got the ball with about 13 minutes to go at midfield, up by 8. The way the defense was playing, you need 20 yards. You get 20 yards, you're up 11. I don't think Mahomes is coming back with 2 drives. I thought 3rd and 17, Mahomes knows that he doesn't have all game to get back in this, and he breaks a run because Weaver cuts inside, and David Long and Andrew Adams, who played great games, take bad angles on Mahomes, and he ends up getting a first down. And honestly, I think in the second quarter, the Titans, when they really started going, even Malik was starting to go a little bit, and Cody Hollister got just a stupid, unnecessary block in the back. And those 3 things, I think, killed them last night. So it's not like they were perfect. It's not like they couldn't have won the game. But the fact that they were right there with the Chiefs. I mean, when I watched the pregame shows yesterday morning, which I almost never get to do, CBS starts off, and Bill Cowher, I think, was like, yeah, there's 2 teams in the AFC, Buffalo, Kansas City. And I'm like, I don't think Kansas City's that good. I told you all on Friday, I think that defensive line for the Titans is going to dominate that offensive line for Kansas City, and they did. They did. So I got to tell you, I'm feeling great. I am now, again, the Malik thing, they got to go get a backup quarterback. But other than that, that defense, last week against the Texans, I say, it's the Texans. I mean, who cares? They couldn't move the ball. I mean, this was the Texans. That is a grade A defense and a great defensive line. That is the New York Giants with Michael Strahan and Osi Umenyiora and Justin Tuck that beat the undefeated Patriots. Level defensive line. What can they do with it? 615-737-1025. It is a Reaction Monday, which means we will get your phones. And I can't believe I just realized this. Let's talk about the defensive line. Mario Edwards Jr.
Where did he come from?
Well, how did I leave him out? He was awesome last night. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. And you all know me. I usually am not the good loss guy. Normally, they lose by a field goal to the Giants, and it's this could happen, that could happen, that could have. And I'm like, no, they screwed this up, they screwed that up, I'm sorry, last night's game with no quarterback. Outstanding from the Titans, and a great sign about what this defense can be. 615-737-1025. We will get to your phones. Plus, I said something last night that pissed a bunch of people off. I am standing by it, and I got to tell you, I feel like we deserve an answer on this. We'll get to that next. We'll get Caroline's reaction. We'll get Ian's reaction as we are rocking and rolling. 615-737-1025. Titans Monday after a tough loss last night. Boy, an emotional loss last night. 615-737-1025. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
2, 3, 4, look.
High school football is here. Join Big Joe Dubin every Friday night at 6 for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy.
Just a small sample of these great coaches in our area.
We'll go around the mid-state for scores and reports on all the big games.
If I'm a high school coach, I want the challenge.
The Game Blitz is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Hey, Teron Davenport here for Superbook Sports. When it comes to sports, it's all happening right now. Football, basketball, hockey, and soon enough, the World Cup. And there's no better place to wager on all of it than Superbook Sports. When you sign up, deposit, and wager in the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. Yes, $1,000. When the sports world is busy, it's time to get busy winning some money. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
He was listed as questionable. Ryan didn't play in the game. There's so many guys, Paul, that bust their ass out there tonight that I would be more than happy to talk about. So if we could ask about the players that actually played in the game, that'd be a great place to start.
I don't want to talk about Ryan Tannehill, who didn't play last night, says
I want to talk
Mike
about
Vrabel.
our starting quarterback.
I want to talk about this. So last night on the pregame show, all I got to say is this. Steve McNair would have played last night. That's all I got to say.
Jared, that's not fair.
Why?
You don't know what's going on with Ryan Tannehill.
Okay. So why won't they tell me?
Is that new to you? That they're not going to tell you what's going on with the player? They're not going to tell you about what's going inside the facility?
Mac Jones sprains his ankle.
Yes.
They immediately come out and say it's a high ankle sprain. Then you hear reports about how the Patriots wanted Mac Jones to get the tightrope surgery, and Mac Jones didn't want to get the tightrope surgery, and he wanted to come back however long it would take, so on and so forth. We don't hear any of that with the Titans, which leads me to believe that that's not an option, because with the other guys, they declare him as out. I mean, they didn't have any problem declaring Nate Davis is out a couple of weeks ago. They don't have any problem telling us that Treylon Burks has a turf toe. They don't have any problem with all these other ones. But with Tannehill, we don't even know if it's a high ankle sprain or not a high ankle sprain. And I go back to this. Steve McNair would have played last night.
But what does that make a difference?
Because in the NFL, teams are led by their quarterbacks. And we're told about how tough Tannehill is, and Tannehill's a tough guy. And you don't think when Phillip Rivers started 240 straight games that he had a sprained ankle? He played an AFC championship game with a torn ACL. You don't think that when Peyton Manning played 210 straight games and he had to bow out because he had multiple neck surgeries and neck fusion, you don't think Peyton Manning ever had a bad ankle?
Well, how many games has Tannehill played consecutively?
I want to say something like 42 or something.
That's a lot of games. You don't think that he's probably played a little banged up?
I'm not making any assumptions. All I'm telling you is Steve McNair would have played.
But you're making an assumption that he would have been fine enough to play.
A game of this magnitude, Steve McNair would have played. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that, that Tannehill's a wuss. I'm not saying that. But I am telling you that with those guys that answer the bell, it is not an accident that Tom Brady has started every game in his NFL career since he took over from Drew Bledsoe, except for when he tore his ACL and when he was suspended by the league for Deflategate. Dan Marino. I watch all these Football Life documentaries all the time. Every single one of these guys, Dan Fouts, Jim Kelly, Jim Plunkett, all of them. It's like, I had a fractured skull, but it was the wild card weekend, so I had to play. Dan Marino.
This also isn't the wild card weekend.
Dan Marino used to have his knee drained in between the week, and he would call it an oil change.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
You want to know when Dan Marino didn't play? When he tore his Achilles. So with Ryan Tannehill, unless the Titans want to come out and say, hey, if he had injured the ankle and they had said, hey, he's out for 6 weeks, that's one thing. But they didn't. So, to me, this is an ankle sprain. They haven't even said it's a high ankle sprain. He went back in the game with it. We saw Mac Jones when he suffered a high ankle sprain. He wasn't coming back in any game with that.
No, Mac Jones was, screaming in pain.
He get carried to the locker room.
But until you know what it is, you cannot say, hey, Ryan Tannehill, somebody else would have played. You're not tougher than Steve McNair is.
Oh, he's definitely not tougher than Steve McNair.
What does it matter? You don't know what is going on with Ryan Tannehill. That is so not fair for you to criticize him for
Derek was on the pregame show yesterday. And I kept saying that over and over again, and Derek kept laughing about it. And the reason why Derek didn't push back on it was because Derek knew. You know what Derek's response was to that when I said Steve McNair would have played?
What?
Derek goes, well, Steve was just different. As in, well, yeah, I know Steve McNair would have played. That's what Derek was saying. Steve McNair played with a broken sternum. It's just, and that's fine. That's fine. But I thought Tannehill had this extreme toughness that Mike Vrabel always talked about. So if Ryan Tannehill can practice last week and practice this week, and he can't play in a game, Steve McNair would have played. So, I will be honest with you until I hear otherwise. And, if the Titans choose not to tell anybody, that's their choice. But I think Tannehill let the team down yesterday. And
that's so not fair.
Why?
Because don't you think Ryan Tannehill has enough of a track record of playing consecutive games and playing through injury that I feel like we can trust Tannehill enough
What
to be
injuries
tough
has
enough.
Tannehill played through?
You don't think he played through an injury last year?
You're asking me to make an assumption that I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not.
Last year?
Everything you're asking me to do right now is to make an assumption. You're asking me to assume that this injury is really, really bad.
I'm not asking you to assume that this injury is really, really bad.
Well,
if
it's not really, really bad, then he's not tough.
Don't we have enough of a sample size of Ryan Tannehill being the starting quarterback of this football team and proving that if he can go, he'll go?
No.
Okay, well, I think that's more so on you than it is on Ryan Tannehill.
Last night was the moment. Last night was the moment where those guys play, where Eli Manning plays, where Tom Brady plays, where Peyton Manning plays, where Brett Favre, who goes to rehab in the offseason because he's got an addiction to painkillers, plays 297 straight games. So, and they would have won if Tannehill played last night. Even an immobile Tannehill, they would have won last night. So I'm not putting it all on him, but I do think that, when Vrabel tells you the positives with Tannehill, Tannehill's had a great season so far, and I feel good about this team, but I would say that unless the Titans will just tell us, if the Titans had told us after the Indy game or on the Wednesday of the Texan game, hey, this is going to be, week-to-week injury and he's out this week and on we go, that's one thing. But the Titans certainly haven't acted like that. He's practiced. Carson Wentz last year hurt his ankles, and
so they should get Carson Wentz in here.
He's a freaking loser, and he hurt his ankles. And he played against the Titans, and he couldn't move. But that's because starting quarterbacks are supposed to find ways to play. So
you are assuming that he could have gone, but just decided not to.
He could practice.
Because he didn't feel like it.
He could practice.
A lot of players can practice and then not play.
Not quarterbacks. The rule of thumb with quarterback, if you can practice, you play. Again, Phillip Rivers played an AFC championship game with a torn ACL. So I thought Tannehill was that guy. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. And boy, I tell you, man, Malik, it wouldn't be so bad if the Titans had, Neil O'Donnell as the backup quarterback. But Mike Vrabel did defend Malik. We'll also get into your phones, 615-737-1025. And we'll get Caroline's reaction to the game, Ian's reaction. But first, Caroline wants to tell us about the Caesar Sportsbook app.
Yes, I do. It is time for the Caesar Sportsbook report. Now, before we get into the fun stuff, the odds, the spreads, the picks, remember, your first bet is on Caesars up to $1,250. So Caesars has got you covered on your first bet. Just download the app and use the promo code RADIOFULL, one word, and then wager. And if you win, then congratulations. But if not, don't worry about it because you'll get that stake back as a free bet. Got a lot of odds boost going down on the Caesar Sportsbook app for Monday Night Football tonight. Ravens Saints. I'm looking at Alvin Kamara over 49.5 rushing yards and over 49.5 receiving yards tonight against the Ravens. I think they're going to rely on Alvin Kamara heavily with Andy Dalton at quarterback. Open it to New Yorkers in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesar Sportsbook. You bet, you get.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robbie and Rexroad every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yossi.
Matt Duchene. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3. The Game.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game and a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks Man Cards are the perfect gifts for the sports fans on your list. Swing by Twin Peaks to purchase your gift cards today and get a little something in return. Offer available at participating restaurants.
Hey, it's Hutton. Guys, do you need an annual health exam? I recommend going to Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They will check all of your levels, not just your T level. In most cases, it's completely covered by your health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit with their medical provider to give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can, with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever, only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Dan Lebitard. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
This team cannot throw the ball. They're 5 of 15 for 80 yards for the game. 4 down territory, obviously, because they got to get it or they're done. Willis holding, chased, trying to escape. He does, but he's got nowhere to go. And he goes down again. Back at the 9-yard line.
Just absolutely nothing there, and there was no check down. Everybody was 40 yards down the field, so he couldn't even get his feet set to try and throw it that far. You'll see, watch all the coverage on the back end of this thing. There just is nothing there, despite the fact that he carved off about 10 seconds on the clock. Now, maybe you take a shot to drill one in right on the other side of that linebacker, but they had it all locked down, and now you're sort of reduced to nothing but Hail Mary time here.
Was I the only person on the TV broadcast when Collinsworth was doing that whole "nobody's there, look at him" that saw the receiver? I think it was Woods. Saw the receiver in between the 3 Kansas City defenders standing there like this.
Was he?
Yes.
I don't know if I saw that.
Like he was standing there with his hands up like, here,
I'm ready,
open.
I'm good.
And Malik had a pocket. Like he had to move to the right, but he had a pocket and he just didn't throw it, ran around and got sacked in a 2-minute drill, which, I mean, seriously.
What did you expect? To be completely honest.
No, you remember this very well. Training camp.
Yes.
I'm like, this guy can't play in the NFL.
Yes.
And everybody was like, he's young. It's practice, Jared. Remember?
Yes, I do remember that very vividly.
Remember all of the it's practice every time. That what I saw in practice and what we saw in the preseason is what I expected in the game. And what do I always say every time that someone goes, well, what if this happens in a game against Kansas City and
what if?
And I always say what?
You lose.
You lose. So you said, was I surprised? No. But I've been bitching about this for months.
No, I didn't ask if you were surprised. I asked, what did you expect?
What I saw, which is why I've been yelling and screaming about this for months. Which is why I yelled and screamed last week on Monday about Titans got to go get a better backup quarterback. Titans need to go sign Sean Mannion off the Seattle practice squad. Titans need to go bring in Matt Barkley off the Buffalo practice squad. Titans need to call Tampa Bay about Blaine Gabbert because I knew this was going to happen. This is why during the pregame show, I put my head down and I said, Derek was trying to cheer me up yesterday on the pregame show when Tannehill was deactivated. Why? Because this is what I expected. This is what happened. I mean, I'm the one who picked the Titans to win. And I said on Friday, if Tannehill plays, if Malik plays, then I'm changing my opinion. But I'm picking the Titans to win. And I said their defensive line was going to dominate the Kansas City offensive line and that the Titans are a bad matchup for Kansas City. And all of those things were true. Now, I was stunned at how close it was with Malik playing.
Yeah, I was too.
But, I mean, now it's obvious. And it's like, what's the point of this, right? You want to beat Kansas. You want to win the Super Bowl. You're going to make the playoffs. You're going to be a top 4 seed in the AFC because all the other teams stink. And so unless Jeff Saturday apparently is the greatest coach of all time that we've never heard of off of the ESPN desk.
What a dumb move.
Unbelievable. I mean, I could, even
my
for them,
eyes rolled in the back of my head when I saw that.
even for them, like that's a bad move. Even for the Colts. But, I mean, they're going to make the playoffs, and yet if something happens to Tannehill, they're screwed, and they don't seem to care about it. That's what I can't get over. That's what pisses me off, is that they can't seem to get over. They can't seem to, like, smell the coffee.
Well, I think that they view it as, or maybe I'm making a massive assumption here, but it's, one, let's develop Malik, and two, how much can another backup quarterback really give us that much of a chance to win?
But would you do that at any other position? Let's use Radens, for instance. They drafted him in the second round. Should they be developing him at left tackle over Dennis Daly, who's a backup?
No, because they've decided that Dylan Radens can't play in this league.
Yes!
Have they decided that about Malik Willis?
Do you watch the games? Do they watch the games?
Yes, Jared, I watch the games.
He can't play. Can't play. He's as bad as Caleb Farley is at corner. He's as bad as Radens is at tackle. He can't play. Remember the one game Radens started last year at tackle? And he was terrible in that San Francisco game? Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, well, they won, Jared. They won. And it's like, right, but he can't play. They won the Texan game. And Malik can't play.
But a third-string quarterback is different than a third-round quarterback is different than a second-round right tackle that needs to play right away. We knew that Malik Willis was going to be a project. We knew that Malik Willis wasn't ready to play in the NFL right now.
Right.
So I'm not going to expect anything different from Malik Willis.
Don't put him in a position to play. Why would you put him in a position to play? If you know he can't play.
Because he's your backup quarterback.
Why is he your backup quarterback?
That is not my decision to make.
That's the whole point I'm getting at here. That's why these guys who are backups around the league are backing up good teams. Because the Philadelphia Eagles don't want to get an injury to Jalen Hurts and all of a sudden against the Dallas Cowboys on the road have to stick some guy in there that nobody knows if he can play. That's why Gardner Minshew, who has 22 starts in the NFL, is their backup quarterback. That's why Chad Henne, who is Kansas City's backup quarterback, has 50 career starts in the NFL. That's why Case Keenum in Buffalo has 60 career starts in the NFL. Because even though we know Case Keenum ain't going to carry some bum team to the Super Bowl, we know that Case Keenum can keep it going for Buffalo and can get them through a game or two. Just like Matt Moore, who was Tannehill's backup all those years in Miami. Matt Moore was Mahomes' first backup, and when he dislocated his kneecap, had to go in there for 4 or 5 games, and Matt Moore kept it fine. But the Titans got to experiment with a guy that, again, in practice he couldn't play, and in the games he can't play. And so if the goal is to develop Malik, then that's fine, but the goal of winning and developing Malik can't be the same. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Brad, get us going today. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, so, guys, I got 2 things, one on Malik and one on the defense. Number one, Malik, I will tell you this. I think his play leaves a lot to be desired, but I thought he took some positive strides in this game. The 3 things that I thought were way more egregious than Malik's play were the receiver drops, leaving the zone reads, and not riding Henry more in the second half. Number 2, the defense. Last week, I called in. I said that I would be physically ill this year because I feel like we're wasting away a championship defense. I got laughed off the phone line, but I'm wondering, did that performance against the Chiefs, not the Texans last night, did the performance against the Chiefs change your mind on that?
Yes, it did. Thank you, Brad. It did. It was weird because, remember, we talked about this on Friday after the Texans played the Eagles on Thursday, and Damian Pierce ran for 136 yards or whatever. And I was like, man, maybe I was wrong to dismiss the defense against the Texans as just the Texans being horrible and Davis Mills is terrible and, whatever, the Texans are awful. Like, maybe that defensive line is like actually elite. And I think
it is.
The Titan defense, in my opinion, proved themselves as legit, I thought. Legit last night. I mean, I'm talking now. Look, Bud Dupree's hurt again, and we know that when Bud Dupree gets hurt, that the defense is 28th in the league, and I don't think they'll be 28th in the league, but we know that the defense takes a massive step back the second that Bud Dupree leaves. But man, Christopher is up next on Tannehill. Thank you for calling. What you got, Christopher?
Yes, hi. I just wanted to point out that Tannehill's injury can't be as worse as Justin Herbert's rib cartilage, and he's playing to keep that team alive.
I mean, I will say this about
I'm not
going to
make that assumption.
Thank you, Christopher. I mean, I would. But what I would say,
we don't even know what's going on with Tannehill.
I mean, it's an ankle sprain. And it wasn't an ankle sprain, and it wasn't an ankle sprain bad enough to get the card out. It wasn't an ankle sprain bad enough to keep him out of the game against Indianapolis. You see what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't
I see what you're saying.
You know, a guy tears an ACL, he falls down to the ground, and, like, he doesn't get up. So it wasn't that. I mean, the Herbert thing, like, I was worried that they were going to puncture a lung for Herbert watching him play that Kansas City game in week 2, and he's played with those ribs all season long, which is, I mean, tough.
Probably painful.
I just go back to this. Those guys play, man. Like, the star quarterbacks, unless it is Dan Marino's torn Achilles, unless it is, you know, a week 16 game when they've already got the playoffs locked up, those dudes play. They all do. Joe Burrow. Last year, Joe Burrow played the whole season with a messed up knee. And then they made the playoffs and they clinched the division and they played a week 17 game against like Cleveland or somebody. And Joe Burrow sat that game out and Brandon Allen played. And then in the playoffs, Joe Burrow played. And then in the Super Bowl, it looked like he blew up his knee even worse. And everybody knew that Brandon Allen was going to have to come into that game. And Joe Burrow went back out onto the field in the Super Bowl. And I'm sure Joe Burrow messed up that knee pretty bad. I mean, the way they were talking about that knee and then, you know, and he plays. Like, those guys play. And so, unless Tannehill has that high ankle sprain where they would require him to get the tightrope surgery, then, I mean, what's the big deal here? I mean, if it's the Cedric Tillman ankle, which is also the Mac Jones ankle, which Cedric Tillman chose to have the surgery, Mac Jones chose to not have the surgery. If that's it, then okay, but we would know because Tannehill would have had the surgery, and he would have been out for 4 weeks, and they would have put him on IR and all those other things. But he didn't. He practiced the week before the Texan game. And I think it's a good point about Justin Herbert. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get back into your phones. 615-737-1025. If you've got a thought, get it in now. 615-737-1025. Hey, when the Preds have a weekday game this season, it's your chance to participate in Pick to Click, brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. If you guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the game that night, you win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Your next chance to participate is tomorrow morning at 8:45 with Robbie and Rex Road.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes, touchdown.
Every three.
Free ball, yes, sir.
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee.
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5, Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
We had a foggy and showery start for many of us, but this afternoon, partly cloudy and high temperatures well above average. We'll be in the middle 70s for today, and that continues until we get toward the weekend when a major cool down moves into the forecast. I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobis.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers flying in their entire collections all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolex is also included. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. Genesis Diamonds. November 18th through 20th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, it's Joe Rexrode here for FanDuel Sportsbook. One of the best things about betting the NFL, finding new players or game props I like. One thing cool about FanDuel, combining these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. This is called, of course, the same game parlay. If you want to talk about Ravens Saints, I definitely like Kamara anytime touchdown. I think I'm actually going to go under. The Saints are playing really good defense. The Ravens have a good defense. I'd go with the Ravens in that too. Go with whatever you want. Just know that with same game parlay, you got a lot of other reasons. FanDuel is great. It's easy to use. That's big for me. It's safe, secure. You get paid fast. Friends use it. You got live betting. You got odds changing during the game. And, of course, again, there's no feeling like nailing the same game parlay. Lock it in today. New customers get $150 in free bets, win or lose with promo code Joe102. Again, promo code Joe102. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, present Tennessee. For first online real money wager, roll a $10 first deposit required. Bonus issue is not available. Free bets expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Do Tennesseans know every word to Rocky Top? Well, the construction industry doesn't call our area rock country for no reason. Harmon Tractor and Equipment is your tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's employee-owned Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. So if you hit rock, need a breaker, and it's time to dig, give them a call. Rent a track loader, an excavator of any size for landscaping, building a pool, construction, utilities, or more. Visit ParmanTractor.com, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Informative.
They played a lot of power play time together back in the day.
Insightful.
It's a great addition to this team.
And just three guys being dudes.
On the sideline in shorts and a t-shirt.
Hanging out, watching the game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
No such thing as bad press.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
5 passes. Can you beat the Chiefs with 5 pass completions?
I don't know. We almost did. I mean, it wasn't really about that. It's about what we're doing and what's working. I mean, we were getting points on drives and we were finding ways to do it, whether that be in the run game or the pass game. I didn't mean to be disrespectful or any type of way by that, but we just try to find ways to win regardless. And I just do what I'm told.
That was Malik Willis yesterday. Can I just say something that's been just bothering me all day, last night? Really, ever since there was a thought that he may play the Kansas City game.
Let it out.
I even got mad at Derek about this on the pregame show yesterday. Malik will learn. This is a learning experience for Malik. He's a young guy.
You don't think he's going to learn?
I don't know if he's going to learn or get better or what. I mean, I don't know what. So that means that he'll complete 7 passes instead of 5 passes? Because last week he completed 6 passes, and this week he completed 5 passes. Let me tell you something.
Progress isn't linear, Jared.
This is the NFL. Bailey Zappi was drafted in the 4th round. He ain't completing 5 passes. And I'm sure it's a learning experience for him when he went out there for the Patriots. Now, we didn't know that Green Bay sucked. But when he went on the road at Green Bay and had to go in the game, and I'm sure it was a learning experience for him. But the truth is I want to win. I want to win. To me, you have to pick one or the other. Like, as kooky as I think the Colts are right now with some of the things they're doing, the reality is they're tanking with Sam Ehlinger as their quarterback.
Yes.
Because they've decided we want the number 1 pick. Well, that's fine. So you're going to sacrifice your entire season, and you're going to get, the number 4 pick, and you're going to draft Will Levis, and we'll see, right?
Kind of feels like that's the way it's going.
Okay. But at least that's the commitment there. To me, when it comes to quarterback, either you are committed to developing a young guy, or you are committed to winning right now. And for a lot of teams, it's easy. When Mariota was drafted number 1 or number 2 overall, it was like at that point the team was committed to Mariota's development. And the winning and the losing, people didn't like to lose, but nobody thought that team was going to compete for the playoffs or the Super Bowl or anything like that. Then after they went 9-7 in Mariota's second year and he showed some promise, now it was about winning and losing. And then when they hired Vrabel, it was, just to it was to develop Mariota. They brought in Matt LaFleur, who, by the way, sucks as a coach. They brought in Matt LaFleur because it was to develop Mariota. But then after a while, it became about winning. It became about the playoffs. It became about everything else. Well, this team right now, if last night's game proved anything, it is that this team's right there in the AFC.
Oh, yeah.
And
Kansas
Kansas City,
overtime with Kansas City with a backup quarterback.
Kansas City has the number 2 defense in the NFL going into the game yesterday and the 26th ranked defense. To me, the Titans are kind of the other way around. I know the Titans are 32nd in offense, but they really don't have the worst offense in the league. I mean, other teams have worse offenses. That I wouldn't trade their players for the Titans.
I don't want the Texans offense.
Bingo. So it's just the opposite of that. But you're every bit right there. And if you play Baltimore or Cincinnati or all these other teams that are in the AFC, you're right there with them. So the idea of developing the kid on the training wheels as a priority of, well, you got to get Malik experience. I'm like, you got to try to win because your team is built to win. So I get mad when it's like, Malik's learned. If Malik had been taken 3rd overall in the draft, okay. Because your entire franchise is based around that guy for the next 5 years. And if he stinks, every single person's getting fired. But he wasn't taken 3rd overall. He was taken in the 3rd round. And, I mean, I'll say, what's crazy? The throw he hit to Hooper, not the one in the seam, but the one he hit on the sidelines, he threw that running off of his back foot.
Yeah.
That's a horrendous decision. And yet, it was a great throw.
It was.
I mean, like,
he had some pretty solid throws yesterday.
I mean,
the one that should have been caught by Chris Conley, that was a good throw.
I got mad at Vrabel getting mad about that after the game.
About the throw?
Yeah, when he was like, we had a couple of drops out there. Like, yeah, but at the same time, you have Malik running out of the pocket and Cody Hollister on the boot standing right there, and he just doesn't. I mean, look, Malik's a work in progress. And will the progress be finished? I don't know. Right now, Malik has not reached the stage where I feel comfortable that Malik's going to be a backup in the NFL. They're just telling you how it is. I don't know if he has the potential to be a backup in the NFL.
When does that change? He's played 2 games.
Like, when does he have to start doing it? And then
no, when does your mind change?
Probably when Malik can not get sacked in the 2-minute drill on 2 plays in a row. That would probably be a good place to start. Again, I've seen Malik run 3 2-minute drills now in my life, like 3 legitimate 2-minute drills. He threw the ball away on 4th down. He threw an interception on the 3rd pass, and those were in training camp against the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. And he took 2 sacks.
Against the Chiefs.
On 3 throws. I mean, come on now. Elaine is up next on the quarterback situation. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting, Elaine. Go ahead.
Yes, this is my first time calling in.
All right.
And I just want to talk to you and Caroline about the game last night.
Let it fly.
I am excited about the defense, but sick about the offense, except for Derrick Henry, of course. But last night, I know you already talked about it, but when they were, good range, and they put. Why did they not try to go get in field goal position, like you said? Instead, they ended up going backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's what they were trying to do, Elaine, but I hear you.
Just, at least, because I know they're going to win that game because I was just sick. I know you were excited.
I was excited. Elaine, great call. Thank you for calling. Thank you for calling, Elaine. Let me say this to the point she made. This is just a tiny little thing that I just want to get out there. There's more than one good player on this offense. There's 2. Hooper.
Yeah, Hooper's a good player.
I mean, get Hooper the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, he's earned it, in my opinion.
I think he's proved that he can catch the ball.
I mean, he needs to play more.
I would have liked to have seen to try and make that catch instead of trying to draw a penalty on that one.
I thought that was total bull crap, and I thought Collinsworth just you know what? We're about to get into the officiating in a second. Let me save it for that. Chad is up next on Todd Downing. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Chad.
Great stuff, brother. Yeah, if I'm the offensive coordinator of the Titans, and I'm available, barely, but when you go into overtime right there, you've got 4 minutes plus left. I guarantee you I'm getting you a tie because he made the right call on first down. You're in 4-down territory. Derek gives you 3.5, 4 yards. What's the next play? It's a no-brainer. He had the script against the Texans. You run Derrick Henry again. What do you do on third down, whether it's third and short or whether we break one? You run Derrick Henry again. What are we doing on fourth down if we get to that point? We're probably not at that point. We're running Derrick Henry. We're running him downhill and getting some momentum. That's your offense. I mean, you got to look at your situation. You've got a whole script here, now 2 games with Malik. You're running Derrick Henry. And here's the criminal side of this game. Here's what really eats at football fans like me.
Give it to me.
You had an unbelievable game out of Simmons. The defense played their heart out, and then you're gonna sit Derrick Henry to 17 total touches. You're not going to use Derrick Henry in a game where you're making a statement game.
So, Chad, I want to hit on your first point. Good call. Do you have a problem with the overtime play calling?
Not really, no.
Ian, did you have a problem with the overtime play calling?
I mean, the overtime play calling wasn't perfect, but there's other situations where it was more of an issue, I think.
I think the second half play calling was more of an issue than the overtime play calling, in my opinion.
So my thing about the overtime was with Malik Willis at quarterback, I mean, the defense had to get a turnover. I thought that the whole time. I was like, and people would have killed me if this had happened. And if this had happened for Vrabel and it hadn't worked, people would have killed him, but I would not have. Had I won the toss, I would have deferred. I would have given Kansas City the ball first in overtime, which everybody across America would have called Vrabel an idiot for that. But that's how little faith I had in this quarterback.
But I get it. Know what you need. Because if you're able to stop Kansas City, then great, march down the field, kick a field goal, and you can win that game.
Well, more so the hope that the defense could make a play than the offense being able to score a touchdown.
And that's what I'm saying, is know what you need.
Yeah, but it's not.
Don't kill yourself trying to get a touchdown with the ball first, and then Kansas City gets the ball, and they try and get a touchdown.
But 99% of the time, you're going to take the ball because of the possibility that you just don't want the other team to have the ball. And if you score the touchdown, then they don't get the ball. And so, I mean, make of that what you will. I am not Mr. Blame the Officials guy. I'm not. But we got to talk about the officiating last night because I thought it was, we'll get to that next. 615-737-1025. Titans Monday, your reaction. Stillman and Company, 1025, 106 The Game.
You watch the game. We talk the game.
The college football playoff rankings, Tennessee, the #1 team in the country.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This segment of ESPN 1025 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain like Heather?
I have terrible arthritis and have had it for quite a while, and I've gone to all kinds of doctors trying to figure out what to do, and everybody just said surgery, and surgery was months of rehab, and I didn't want to do that.
But then Heather discovered QC Kinetics, local medical professionals who specialize in natural biologic treatments, non-invasive solutions designed to repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. And she absolutely loves the results.
I like to tell anybody who's suffering that there are options that are not steroids, that are not surgery. You owe it to yourself to find out about QC Kinetics and find out what they can do for you.
No surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Discover QC Kinetics and learn more about natural biologic treatments with lasting results.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. Don't wait. Call today. QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Being part of Cromwell Media, who owns this station, is a big deal because it's our people that make us what we are. So we're saluting Nicola Spencer and our sales department for 18 years of service. Ted and Holly Klimkowski have put in 12 years as our engineering and IT wizards. Willie Donick, midday host on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and voice of the Predators, celebrates 11 years this month. And Yvette Wright in sales passes the 1-year mark. We salute them all and invite you to join the team. Send us a note at together@cromwellmedia.com.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne,
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman and Company, Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Titans Monday, Titans fall 2017 in overtime to the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football last night. Let me just get this out of the way. I am not a blame the refs guy, and I don't think you're a blame the refs gal.
No. I'll blame the refs when I think that that's deserving.
Do you think that last night was deserving?
I think so.
So
many holding calls.
In my notes, I do, a good play for the Titans is in blue, a red play is in red, play by the Chiefs is in green. So like that ball that Mahomes hit to, I believe it's Justin Wilson or Watson or whoever the hell that is, that ball he hit on the sidelines, the perfect throw, perfect catch. Fulton had great coverage, and I wrote in green, great pass, great, so if the
Fulton
Chiefs
had a good
do
game yesterday.
It goes in green, and then in orange is refs, and then purple is when the coach's tape comes out and I watch film. But orange is refs, and I've never had as much orange on my sheet as I did yesterday. This is the fourth quarter alone in last night's game. Willis, incomplete, deep left to Hooper. My note, awful, underline, missed pass interference on Austin Hooper. I thought that was obvious pass interference. And that's a huge play because the Titans are up by 8, and the ball is probably 20 yards down the field, and they're at their own 16. So you're talking about sticking the ball at about the 35-yard line. And now the Titans are getting some momentum, and it's the fourth quarter, and Kansas City, and no flag. And it was obvious. That was like Rams-Saints, in my opinion, level pass interference on Austin Hooper. Then on the next play, the Titans punt the ball, and the Chiefs did get called for holding on the punt. But the ball should have been moved back even further because Lonnie Johnson was running down the side, and the guy was like taking his jersey off, and I can see it without even having to slow it down or look in or get a better replay.
It's obvious.
He's pulling the guy's jersey off. No flag right there because, this Carl Cheffers crew, they were horrendous.
I thought it was Cleet Blakeman.
It was Cleet. I don't know why I said Carl Cheffers.
Yeah.
This Cleet Blakeman crew was terrible. Blakeman's awful. They think he's like the best ref in the NFL. He's terrible. Him and Bill Vinovich both. But so they don't call the flag there. Then in the fourth quarter, Mahomes scrambles for 20 yards on 3rd and 17, and the tackle's holding Weaver by the shoulder pads. No call there. And again, when I say that they miss a hold, it's not like a little hold where it was a hold.
It's like a 50-50. There were so many calls last night that I was like, holding.
The Aaron Brewer hold, like that, that was holding. But
I didn't have a problem with that
if
call.
you're going to call the Aaron Brewer hold,
you have to call the other one.
Then you got to call some of these other holds that happened out there, including the one on Weaver. Then the 2-point conversion. Here's what got me on that play. First off, I mean, Kelsey rips off Josh Kalu's helmet, and they throw the flag on Josh Kalu. And I probably would have thrown a flag for offensive pass interference on Kelsey. I probably wouldn't have thrown a flag on Kalu, because when you're that close, that movement, that space that the defender has to hit the offensive player is pretty much midway to the end zone. So I probably would have called it on Kelsey and not on Kalu. But then Tier Tart had squeezed through two guys. Now, Tier Tart's not a little guy, but Tier Tart had squeezed through two guys. The guard got beat, turned around, and grabbed his jersey off of him to keep him from getting to Patrick Mahomes. Again, like, if you see a jersey being, like, pulled off of somebody, that's a flag. And they didn't even throw the flag right there. The refs are standing right there. Blakeman himself is standing right there. Now, what he does is he gives differential treatment to stars. And he has always done that. He reffed an AFC title game in 2018 between the Patriots and the Chiefs in the same building, and he called a personal foul on Chris Jones for hitting Brady in the head. When he didn't hit Brady in the head, he hit him in the shoulder pad. And so he gives stars deferential treatment. But I thought the officiating last night was so bad. I mean, I felt like I was watching the movie Remember the Titans, when they play that team where the coach is a racist and the referees are all racist and they're all throwing flags because they don't want the integrated Titans in order to win. And so then the coach threatens to take them all to jail. I thought I was watching that last night with that officiating. And again, I am not a blame the refs guy. People are mad about the penalty on Cody Hollister, the block in the back, because it was a little block in the back and it was away from the play and it didn't affect the play. And I'm like, they all count. That's not how football works. Is, well, that had nothing to do with the play, so it doesn't count. He went up and he blocked the guy in the back.
But I understand the frustration of, if you are going to call it, you have to call everything else.
Yeah, and they didn't call it both ways. I mean, there was one where they called a false start on Okonkwo after they had the first play to Okonkwo where he gained like 40
something yards. Yeah.
The next play was an offside on Okonkwo.
I thought that was offsides.
No, the Chiefs jumped it.
Really?
Yeah, the Chiefs jumped into the neutral zone, and Okonkwo moved.
It looks like a pretty blatant false start from Chig to me.
So what happened, and I watched it about 5 times last night. The Chiefs jump into the neutral zone. Now, they can jump back out of the neutral zone, but they jump into the neutral zone. Now, you know how sometimes you see offensive linemen reach over and touch the guy? So they do that because if you jump into the neutral zone and then I jump because you jumped, then it's on you. Years ago, the rule was not that way. Years ago, it used to be if the offensive player jumps, the defensive player can do whatever, and it's on the offensive player. Javon Kearse did that to Fred Miller in a game here against the Rams years ago where he kept jumping him off sides. And so now if you provoke it, it's on you. They jumped into the neutral zone. Chig reacted, and they blew a false start on Chig. The bad call. And you're looking at them both right there at one time. But what happens is, because the game's on the road, is they see the jump, and we saw this in the Tennessee-Alabama game, and then we saw this the other way in the Tennessee-Georgia game multiple times, where the Georgia player, when they're playing Georgia, or the Tennessee player against Alabama, just starts pointing at the line of scrimmage, like, oh, he jumped, and the referees buy it.
Yeah, that crew against Alabama, it was all acting.
And that's what happened. They missed so many blocking the backs on punts.
And Collinsworth's call on that was like, a little bit too much adrenaline for the rookie.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that they jumped into the neutral zone and they didn't call it. Now, I do have some good calls. I mean, even one on Christian Fulton last night I thought was a missed pass interference call, and they didn't call it because on the play before they had called an illegal contact on David Long. And with these referees, they're not told specifically not to call fouls. But they know doing Sunday Night Football, the NFL does not want that game to go 3.5 hours long. Well, if you call every penalty, then it's going to take 4 hours to play a game. And the NFL doesn't want that. So they call the illegal contact on David Long, and I didn't see it, and I don't have access to the all 22 yet to be able to watch that. But they called the illegal contact on David Long. And on the next play, I thought Christian Fulton was there about a second and a half too early on a ball intended for Juju Smith-Schuster. And I thought it should have been pass interference, and it wasn't. But I thought the officiating last night was truly horrific. And it's almost like, well, damn. The Titans, I mean, the Chiefs don't need any more help. The Titans are already playing with both hands behind their arms because Malik Willis is playing quarterback. So I just wanted to put that out there that, again, I'm not a blame the refs guy, but I thought last night, I thought the officiating last night was worse than the officiating in the Giants game, and the officiating in the Giants game included a missed false start on a 2-point conversion that won the Giants the game. So that tells you what I think of that. I thought the officiating last night was terrible.
It was not great.
615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Lexington is up next on the backup quarterback situation for the Titans. Go ahead, Lexington.
Yeah, so, basically I'm trying to figure out why they didn't, give Logan Woodside a try. I mean, we was watching the way that, Willis was performing, and I'm just curious about that, and I'll just hang up and just listen.
Yep, thank you for your call. I mean, I think the reason why they didn't give Logan Woodside a try is because Logan Woodside sucks. Fair?
Didn't you think they would have given him a try?
If they
believed in him?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think they would have. I do. I mean,
unless they really wanted to show and to prove to Malik that, hey, we believe in you. But
is the Chiefs game?
But also, I think
Malik's feelings?
I think the Titans made up their decision a long time ago that Logan Woodside really isn't worth a damn because he would have been the backup quarterback over Malik.
Although he did beat out Trevor Siemian. And Trevor Siemian is a legitimate...
You always go back to that.
Trevor Siemian is a legitimate backup. I go back to starts in the NFL. Again, all these guys. Chad Henne's never been an A-plus starter.
Don't you think Logan Woodside looked a lot worse in camp this year than he looked last year?
I did, yes.
He has regressed.
I think...
So that was the Logan Woodside that beat up Trevor Siemian, not this one.
I don't get it because he was in that battle with Matt Barkley last year, and he beat Matt Barkley. And I thought he played fine.
Yeah.
And then he goes out there this year with Malik in there, and he looks like total dog crap. And
I don't know if it was the mental aspect of I'm fighting for my job and he just couldn't handle it, or if he just all of a sudden has taken 10 steps back as a quarterback. But he has not looked like the Logan Woodside of 2020 or 2021.
But see, here's my thing I don't care about Logan Woodside. Like, get somebody else. If we're going
to have a backup quarterback conversation, I think Logan Woodside deserves to be part of it.
He was in training camp. Is he going to be the backup? And then we
no,
decided
he's not.
So now I go get somebody else. Trevor Siemian in his career has 29 starts. That's what I'm saying. Like, these guys start games in the NFL. And the Titans have a bunch of guys who, what's the old saying? Couldn't play dead in a Western?
I've never heard that before.
I think that's like the old saying.
Never heard that.
615-737-1025. We're back to your phones on the game. 615-737-1025. Titans and Chiefs. Titans Monday. And I don't know which one bothered me more. But there was one thing about these penalties in last night's game I got to get off my chest outside of just how bad the crew was. We'll get to that as well. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guy.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Two icons, one night. Billy Joel, Stevie Nicks. Friday, May 19th, Nissan Stadium. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Together in Nashville for the first time ever. Don't miss Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now?
Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
The final matchup of the Tennessee basketball team's 3-game series with Colorado is coming to Nashville. Don't miss the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena Sunday, November 13th. Be there to witness your Volunteers in action as they look to run their all-time record against Colorado to 5-0. Sunday, November 13th, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Red Cap.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is coming. November 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's an extraordinary event with savings of 20, 25, up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide sale. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. It's the final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamond, November 18th through 20th only. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Never miss a moment of the show. What is this? Check it out. Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
So we're right back in the 2, right back in the middle of the field.
3 backs in the game. We don't see that often.
Edwards-Helaire in motion. Mahomes throws it in the middle. There's a flag down. Incomplete for Kelsey, but a flag comes down here. And another preliminary indication of holding. We have 2 separate flags down.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 28. Half the distance to the goal line, and we replay the try.
So Joshua Kalu's helmet come off there. It'll go to the 1-yard line now.
This is turning into big-time wrestling out here now. Here it comes, a big hold, no question. Kelsey retaliates by throwing his helmet into the first row. And here we go. That double arm grab around the backside, another hold. There goes your helmet.
And Kalu has a rightful conversation for where's the offensive pass interference with the hands up by the headgear. But both are wrestling there. The initial one was by Kalu. So for the 3rd time, it's an attempt for 2 to tie the game.
How about that right there? Like the freaking Chris Collinsworth, Mike Tirico, after the obvious penalty, which Kelsey rips off Kalu's helmet, although I do think Kalu ripped his own helmet off. But after that, it's like, and Kalu does have an interesting point there, but, they're wrestling. It's a physical game. Well, they called the one on the other guy.
But it's still a penalty.
As much as the officiating pissed me off, Collinsworth and Tirico's apologizing for it last night. Listen to the Austin Hooper. Correct me if I'm wrong, you two. I think this was clear, blatant pass interference. On the ball on the side, 3rd down, Malik Willis puts it up. It is underthrown a little bit. Hooper turns around to try to make the play on the ball. The defensive back tackles Hooper as the ball gets there, but not like, to me, it was clear pass interference.
Oh, the call here made me so angry.
So listen to Collinsworth on the back end of this.
3rd and 4, empty backfield. Willis puts it up top for the tight end. Austin Hooper, incomplete. And no flag is thrown. It will be 4th down. Trent McDuffie is back in the lineup. The 1st-round pick out of Washington, step for step on the coverage.
I'll just say this. If Austin Hooper had stopped and gone right back through McDuffie, he would have either caught it or drawn the pass interference call. But because McDuffie had his head turned around, Mike Vrabel was going to scream.
Mike Vrabel's going to scream. Why is Mike Vrabel going to scream?
Because it was PI. And also, to me, that sounded like, wow, Austin Hooper should have tried a little bit harder there.
To get the penalty.
Yes.
And
when it should have been a penalty.
I freaking hate this. What teams do sometimes, like this is Carson Wentz ball, is where you throw it deep and you underthrow
and you just
it.
Hope and pray for PI.
The DB is turned around and the receiver just runs into the DB and they throw the flag every time. I hate that. I don't like giving guys credit.
Carson Wentz did that to the Titans so many times last year.
Well, he did it in a game against San Francisco, and they ended up winning it on Sunday Night Football. And I just don't like giving credit when the guy, to your point, is trying to make it more of a penalty. But, I mean, again, Collinsworth and Tirico last night, I thought they were just – whatever call the officials made, they were going to say it was a good call, which is ridiculous. Aikman tonight will not do that on Monday Night Football. Let's go back to your phones. Jerry on the 2-point conversion penalty. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hey, I love you guys' show.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there's two things. I'm not pretending to be anywhere near the professional of football as you guys on the station because you do a great job. But one, before the safety conversion thing, why did they give KC the chance to receive when they won the coin toss? Do you think that was wise or not? Is it just me or is that crazy?
Are you talking about an overtime?
Yeah.
Kansas City won the toss and elected to receive.
Oh, I thought we won the toss.
No, Kansas City won the toss. And had the Titans, thank you for your call, Jerry, had the Titans decided, this is what I think would have happened. If the Titans had won the toss, they would have received, and they would have tried to score a touchdown or whatever. And if I was the coach, and I would be getting freaking killed for this, I would have deferred. If I was Mike Vrabel and I had won the toss, and again, this didn't happen, so whatever, I would have deferred. And I only would have deferred for two reasons. One, I don't have any faith in Malik Willis in the offense at that point. They had one first down in the second half. I have no faith in them going the length of the field and scoring a touchdown. But can I kick it deep to Kansas City and hope that via a tipped ball or Travis Kelce, Danico Autry on the Travis Kelce interception, Danico Autry got his hand. TD talks about this all the time, about how at practice, the defensive linemen match hands with the quarterback. And so Danico Autry put his hand out. And I think what happened was when he put his hand out, it got in the vision of Kelce, who's trying to look the ball in. And so then he kind of gets blinded for a second and it hit him in the hands, and McCreary ended up intercepting the ball. So could I get an interception or a fumble or hold him to 3 and out and get a good punt return, and then all I got to have is a field goal to win the game? And as unlikely as that sounds, I think it is more likely than it would be for me to get the ball and drive down the field and score a touchdown.
We haven't been able to drive down the field the whole game.
But if Vrabel had done that and it had not worked, he would have gotten killed for that.
Yeah.
He would have gotten killed for that.
If Tannehill's your quarterback, you don't defer.
No, absolutely not.
No.
But here's the other thing that's crazy. You know what I thought the stupidest coaching decision of the game was?
What?
Last night? Now, it ended up not hurting Andy Reid.
The Andy Reid 4th and 1 call?
What the hell was he thinking? So in overtime, they get 4th and 1 at the Tennessee 13. They end up throwing the ball to Juju Smith-Schuster for 2 yards. What the hell was he thinking? If they don't get that, again, the Titans defense has stopped Kansas City on multiple 3rd and 4th and 1.
They've been able to do it all night long.
All game. All it takes is Simmons, Autry. One of those guys gets a hand up. It's a tip pass, and you get no points, and the game probably ends in a tie, which at that point I was kind of rooting for. The game probably ends in a tie. And Andy Reid goes for it. Wow. And they ended up kicking a field goal anyway.
Yeah. Did they just want to get it closer?
No, they were. Where were they? They were at the 13.
Well, it's because the Titans can't move the ball. And so if you lose the ball and the Titans get it, you get the ball right back at the 50-yard line, you kick the field goal and win.
Maybe. But
Risky.
if all Derrick Henry has to do is get one first down and the game's tied.
Yeah, risky.
I wouldn't have done that. And the Titans' playbook's open to anything at that point. They can still run Malik, they can, but because they were down 3-0, they had to throw it. I thought that when Andy Reid went for it, I thought, they're going to get this, but this is so stupid.
Especially a play call to Juju Smith-Schuster.
Hey, Juju had 10 catches last night.
10 more than any other Titans receiver.
10 catches last night. But Juju is not in my opinion.
He's not a deep ball guy.
He's not a receiver anymore. He's a tight end.
Yeah, he just will catch, those short balls. But I just thought, okay, game on the line, 4th and 1, you have to convert, and the play call is to Juju? Really?
Well, here's the thing. Here's why Juju got off last night. Because what the Titans did
they just cover up Travis Kelce and say, we're not going to let Travis Kelce beat us?
Remember when the Titans played the Raiders and Mac Hollins went freaking bananas for like 150 yards receiving? That's Vrabel game.
It's because they were not going to let Devontae Adams beat them.
So I remember when I was in college.
Darren Waller.
We played in an NCAA tournament game, a Sweet 16, and Maryland had this was an Elite 8. Maryland had 2 great players. And the coach was like, if the other players beat us, he was standing on that little NCAA logo on the court. Mm-hmm. He goes, if their 4th best player is hitting jump shots from this spot, then we will shake their hands and move on.
Right.
If Noah Gray and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Juju Smith-Schuster beat me, but not Mecole Hardman and Travis Kelce, yeah, shake.
Then they're just better than you.
And that Noah Gray catch was a great catch.
That was a great catch.
Like those things, that's a great catch. We're back to your phones. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Plus, an unpopular opinion that I didn't even think I was going to have before I rewatched the game last night. We'll get to that coming up next, and then I promise, are right to your phones. 615-737-1025. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. I love Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Fall means cooler weather is coming. I heard today that we might have snow next week.
What?
I know, right? So you really need to heed this. Fall means cooler weather, so make sure your family is warm in your home from Hiller with this special deal. This month, take advantage of Hiller's Happy HVAC Comfort Bundle, which includes HVAC replacement, germicidal UV light, extended 10-year warranty, and you'll get a free Solo smokeless stove. Or get a free Solo stove with a new whole home generator or whole home water filtration and descaler. Plus, Hiller is offering 0 interest for up to 12 months on these purchases. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services Free Guarantee, and I know this because I've been using Hiller at my home. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Tennessee Volunteers, the Nashville Predators, and the Vanderbilt Commodores. Hiller, call the Happy Face truck today.
This is Colton Sissons, and this is Smashville.
Feeds now, Sissons coming on for the left circle, and Colton Sissons puts it in the net.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
Welcome to Smashville, home of the biggest hits in hockey and the loudest parties on Broadway. Join us at Bridgestone Arena Saturday, November 12th as your Nashville Predators take on the New York Rangers and support the Nashville Predators Foundation's annual Second Harvest Food Drive. Purchase your tickets today at NashvillePredators.com/tickets and drop off any non-perishable food donations on your way into the arena. We can't wait to see you Saturday, November 12th at Bridgestone Arena. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Let's go, Preds!
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can, with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever, only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Mobil 1 can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $37.99. Get everything you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Blood Assurance, the area's only nonprofit blood centers, announces their Commit to Give campaign, where a lucky donor will be going to the SEC Championship game in Atlanta. Visit any area blood assurance center now through November 10th and register, or you can schedule your appointment to donate at bloodassurance.org/GameDayHero. Thanksgiving is a busy time for blood needs, so Blood Assurance is urging the community to donate before the holiday. Give blood, give local, save lives with Blood Assurance.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
This team cannot throw the ball. They're 5 of 15 for 80 yards for the game. 4 down territory, obviously, because they got to get it or they're done. Willis holding, chased, trying to escape. He does, but he's got nowhere to go. And he goes down again. Back at the 9-yard line.
Just absolutely nothing there, and there was no check down. Everybody was 40 yards down the field, so he couldn't even get his feet set to try and throw it that far. You'll see, watch all the coverage on the back end of this thing. There just is nothing there, despite the fact that he carved off about 10 seconds on the clock. Now, maybe you take a shot to drill one in right on the other side of that linebacker, but they had it all locked down, and now you're sort of reduced to nothing but Hail Mary time here.
So I put this in my notes about that particular play, the third down, 3rd and 21 at the Tennessee 14 in overtime where Malik gets sacked. And I wrote, who runs a 3-man route on 3rd and 21? Because the Titans had left a tight end, Okonkwo, and a running back, I believe it was Haskins, into pass protect. And like, who runs a 3-man route? But let me just say this. I know that last night on Twitter, everybody was freaking out about Todd Downing. And I can't stand Todd Downing. I wish they'd fire him.
I know.
I really didn't think Todd Downing had that bad of a game last night.
I thought the second half was very questionable.
Okay, let's go over the second half. And again, let me throw out the asterisk here of I reserve my right to change my opinion based upon the ability.
Based upon Jared's film room.
Based upon the ability to watch the all-22 film in which I can see, like, you know, who was open, who wasn't open, things like that, which you can only watch 24 hours after the game has started. And obviously we're still in this 24-hour window. So the Titans' first drive, the Titans ended up not getting it. They had Nate Davis was ineligible downfield, which I thought was a good call. Malik Willis ran it. 3rd down and 8. They ran the ball with Hassan Haskins, 3rd and 8 at the 18, up by 5. Clearly, they didn't trust Malik to throw it. You have a problem with that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I do wonder, though, on 3rd and 8, why is Derrick Henry not on the field if you know you're going to run it?
So I actually wrote the exact same thing, and I wrote no throw ? My theory behind this is I believe that if you know you're going to run it on 3rd and 8, you also know you're not going to get it. I mean, that is a setup to a punt, right?
Yes. I mean, 3rd and 8 is a passing down.
So if Derrick is averaging 30 carries a game and you know you don't want him to carry the ball 30 times a game.
Then are you just going to, no pun intended, punt on that one?
Yes.
Just
have somebody else take the hit.
Yeah.
And
no, you're not going to get it.
And what's the difference between 6 yards and 4 yards here? So I don't have a problem with that. Second drive, Titans end up kicking a field goal. Willis incomplete
to Chig,
which was a horrendous throw by Willis.
Yeah,
I mean
that was like the Texans throw to Chig.
That was a terrible. So he took a shot with Willis, and Willis just missed it. I mean, that was a horrendous throw, and I do want to see how badly he missed it on the all-22 because the side angle doesn't totally show us where exactly the ball was, but he definitely missed it. They hand the ball to Henry, he gains 5. 3rd down and 5. This is where I wrote in my notes, why is Henry out of the game? Willis ran it for 3 yards.
3rd and 5. Like, 3rd and 5 is much different than 3rd and 8.
3rd and 5 still a passing down, or still a running down, passing down, but I still,
But you can pick up 5 yards running the ball the way that this offense was moving last night.
So I'd knock Downing for. But I also think that what they were trying to do there was to make sure that no matter what happened, that they kicked the field goal.
Or was that Malik checking out of a potential passing play?
Oh, I think that was a quarterback run the whole time.
You think?
I don't think they wanted him throwing the ball. Because where they are at the 29 when he did that, I mean, that's at the back end of Randy Bullock's range. But, I mean, an 8-point lead is, with the way the defense was playing.
Hold on to that.
Whatever you do, you don't give that ball up.
Right.
The next drive, the Titans, Derek gets 9 yards. They called Brewer
Aaron
for
Brewer
a hold,
holding.
which was a good call.
And then you're at 1st and 20.
So
And
now
no
you're-
way the Titans are digging themselves out of that running the football.
Not with Malik Willis. So
No.
you're pretty much, that's a drive-killing penalty right there. Then the next drive, they don't call pass interference on Hooper. Can't blame Downing for that one, can we?
No.
Okay, then the next drive. Now, here's what he got. 1st and 10 at the 50-yard line, and I wrote in my notes, points here, up 8 with 13 minutes to go. Points here win the game. At this point, you're up 8. You kick a field goal. It's 11. They get the ball back with 8 minutes, down 2 scores, and a 2-point conversion with your
defense playing the way it is.
You win the game with points, and the ball's at the 50. You need 20 yards in order to win the game. Derrick Henry for 4, got a problem with that?
Nope.
Derrick Henry for 7, got a problem with that?
No.
Derrick Henry for 1, have a problem with that?
No.
Derrick Henry incomplete for Nick Westbrook-Akine. Do you have a problem with that?
Malik Willis.
Yeah, Malik threw the ball down the sideline.
Yeah.
And
And
for
also, Nick
Westbrook-Akine.
Westbrook-Akine has to
Should have been
catch that
caught.
ball.
Should have been caught. Hit him in the hands.
He has to catch that ball. That is on Nick Westbrook-Akine.
Here's what I'll say about that throw and that catch or lack of catch. You're asking a third or fourth guy to do that.
Yeah, I am.
If that's A.J. Brown, that's catch. But that's why A.J. Brown makes $26 million.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to cry about A.J. Brown not being out there. Nick Westbrook-Akine, it hit him in his hands and he was bobbling it. He has to bring that ball in.
I know, but jumping up over a defensive back to go up and grab a ball is something that you ask a starting receiver to do. And what have I always said about Westbrook-Akine?
He's not a starter.
He's a backup. He's a backup. And so you're
But that doesn't
asking,
excuse it.
It's different,
And
though.
it's not a Todd Downing thing at that point. That's a John Robinson thing, but that's still on Nick Westbrook-Akine. You have to catch that ball.
It's different than, say, like they played Pittsburgh last year and Tannehill threw a ball deep and Westbrook-Akine was running through it and it hit him in the hands and it just popped out.
Mm-hmm.
To me, those are two totally different drops. Like where the ball just hits you in the hands and there's nobody there. That's a contested catch he just didn't make. I agree with you guys that Westbrook-Akine needs to be able to make that catch, but you're asking a guy who is not good to do something that guys who are good do.
Yes, I am.
Who does that fall on? The coaches?
I think it
GM,
falls on
roster?
the fact that, it's the GM.
That's Robinson.
But again, is that Todd Downing's fault that that catch wasn't completed?
No, I had no problem with the play call.
Okay.
At 2nd and 9, you have to throw the football.
Did
And then
they-
a short pass to Dontrell Hilliard.
Well, it was a screen and Nick Bolton sniffed it out.
And he just got
Nick Bolton
blown up.
Okay, so now we've been through every drive, and we really don't have any problem with what Todd Downing did in the second half. Now, the last drive, Kansas City ties the game. Derrick Henry runs it up the middle for 2. Malik throws the ball away, and I wrote this in my notes, I need to watch to see the all-22 to see if there was a bad play call or if anybody was open.
There at 2nd and 8, it was the fake to Derrick Henry. Why not just give it to Derrick there?
On 2nd and 8?
Yes.
Probably because Derrick got 2 yards, and then if Derrick gets 2 yards again, now you're in 3rd and 6.
3rd and 6, but that's better than 3rd and 8.
Yeah, but how much better is it?
2 yards better.
I know, but with 2:19 to go in the game, you're trying to move the ball down the field, and try to get into field goal range. I don't have a problem with that.
I would have just run it with Derrick Henry.
Do you have a problem with that, Ian?
I don't know about that particular play, but it just feels like they should have done a better job of getting Malik some throws here, some reads, and some easy throws to pick up some yards.
They did, and he didn't throw it to Cody Hollister.
That was one. On that one play, I agree. That was a decent scheme where Hollister comes across the formation, and if Willis gives it another half a second, he could probably get the ball to Hollister. Again, we're throwing it to Hollister, but that was probably one play. The others, there's not enough easy throws. There's not enough one-read throws. There's too many of these rollouts, and granted, he's good at the rollouts, but they're rolling out, and these guys are coming unblocked right at him
like
on
last
these
week,
rollouts.
Like the easy throws to Robert Woods, the gimmies, to Ian's point, like those are the gimmies, the gains of 4 or 5 yards that don't do much, but it makes a difference.
Especially on that one where at the 50 and all they need is 20 yards for the field goal you're talking about, essentially halfway ice the game. Like, you got to come up with 1 or 2 plays in your pocket that you know are going to give you some cheap yards. They don't have any of those.
So here's where I'm going to defend Todd Downing, which you guys know. I'm not the biggest Todd Downing supporter here.
That.
Don't you think Kansas City took those away?
I'm not going to make that assumption.
I mean, let's go back to that exact series Ian is talking about. The ball's at the 50. They run the ball. First of all, Kansas City had literally like 9 guys at the line of scrimmage on every play. I mean, it was amazing that Derek broke the 2 runs that he did break because it was the same as last year where when they played Derek had 80 yards on 30 carries because they literally had everybody at the line of scrimmage and Tannehill threw for 250 yards in the first half. And we know that Tannehill is not an averaging 500 yards a game guy, especially last year when he sucked. And so Kansas City was inviting the Titans to throw the ball deep, which is why the Titans threw the ball deep. They threw the ball deep to Conley. He didn't catch it because he sucks. They threw the ball deep to Westbrook-Akine. He didn't catch it because he sucks. And so on that exact series Ian is talking about, they threw the ball deep because Kansas City was giving it to him. And Westbrook-Akine didn't catch it. And on the next play, to try to kind of set up a gimme for Malik, they ran a screen pass, and Nick Bolton sniffed it out and ran into the backfield and tackled Hilliard because they took away everything short last night.
And that short dart to Chig at 3rd and 10, one of the last plays in regulation, Chig just couldn't hold on to it.
No, that was a bad throw.
It was a dart of a throw from Malik Willis.
That was a bad
Chig
throw.
just couldn't hold on to it.
It was behind him.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a bad throw. So, I mean, Kansas City knows it. Like, to your point about why don't they just have the gimmies? Because Kansas City's got everybody up in the line of scrimmage and it's 0 blitz coverage. It's basically what Kansas City were in the same defense last year. This is why on Friday, I kept telling everybody, I'm like, if Tannehill plays, they're going to win because they have to throw the ball in this game because it's going to be there to throw the ball. And it was there to throw the ball. They just didn't have anybody to throw it. And then when they did throw it, they didn't really have anybody to catch it. I mean, we sit here, Vrabel's sitting there bitching about guys not catching the ball. And it's like, dude, you're asking Chris Conley, who was on the Texans practice squad, to make catches for you. Well, whose fault's that? That's your fault for trading A.J. Brown. I did promise phones, and I didn't think the Downing thing was going to go that long. And I see all your phones are on Downing. James has been waiting very patiently, though. He's up next on Todd Downing. Thank you for calling. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, James.
For starters, Conley gets a check. Conley was out there on the play. Conley dropped the ball. Number 2, the problem with Downing for me is his quarterback's skill set changed. This should have been a zone read game.
And it wasn't?
RPO. Not really. No. Not really. This should have been a zone read RPO game. This week, you in love, throw the ball to Cody Hollister. Last week, every week after that, don't throw the ball to Cody Hollister. Why is he even on the team?
I don't know. He freaking
He's the best blocker
stinks.
on the team, Jared.
Block in the back. Block in the back. Bring it back. Cody Hollister, he sucks. Continue, James.
I'm just saying, man, it's like I have never been more proud in a loss of my team than yesterday because with Tannehill, we beat the hell out of them damn.
I know. James, good call. I agree. What's crazy is, like I said, the defense is officially elite to me. Like, this defense is
doing
elite.
what it did to Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce yesterday. I would say that's a pretty fair
It's the line. It's the defensive line.
And you know what
sure
hurts?
tacklers and everything else.
What hurts? Think about how good that defensive line would have been with Harold Landry.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to sound crazy. I think Landry's consistent, and he's a good player.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's as good as the other 3.
I miss Landry.
You don't think that he adds an element to that defensive line that just brings it to the next level?
I think he's good and consistent, but I don't think.
I mean, good and consistent is really all I'm asking for.
And good and consistent will make you a rich man in the NFL.
Invaluable.
But I don't think he's as good as Autry. You know what I mean? Like, Autry is freaking special. And
I think he's better
Bud
than Weaver.
Dupree, yeah, but Weaver. The only reason Weaver played is because Bud got hurt, because Mario Edwards plays Weaver.
Mario Edwards.
Weaver is only they do not put Weaver out there on running plays for a reason. He's so undisciplined. And everybody else on their defensive line is so disciplined. So, yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to have Landry out there, but just the collection of guys that they have, and I just think it's led by Simmons and just how good he is. I think, boy, I tell you. But I'm not knocking Landry either. I agree. Yeah, it'd be great to have him. 615-737-1025. Okay, I promise back to your phones. 615-737-1025. But I just, not as anti-Todd Downing as everybody else. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to get your Titans thoughts in on that. Be sure to catch the Eddie George Show featuring Jonathan Hutton tonight at 6 o'clock, live from 6th and Peabody. The Eddie George Show is brought to you by Low T Centers and Xander Insurance. Xander gives you more options. More options means more savings for you. Free quote at XanderInsurance.com.
185! Every team needs a quarterback.
185!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about them.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Presented by Red Spirit and Wine in Bellevue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
We had a foggy and showery start for many of us, but this afternoon, partly cloudy and high temperatures well above average. We'll be in the middle 70s for today, and that continues until we get toward the weekend when a major cool down moves into the forecast. I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobis.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
College football season is here finally. It's me, Caroline Fenton, and you already know that I am pumped up for college football season. And Southeastern Carolines, you know that 312 Pizza Company is my favorite place in town. 312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Music City. You can catch every down of the college football season at 312 Pizza Company. From week 1 to the national championship, 312 Pizza Company is your home for college football season.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Thank you for calling Navy Federal Credit Union. How can I help you?
Hi, if I'm in the Army, not in the Navy, am I still eligible for membership?
Yes, you are.
What about my sister in the Air Force?
Her too.
And my dad's a Marine.
We serve all branches of the military, veterans, and their families.
My dog is a retired military working dog.
I'll see what I can do.
Find out if you're eligible at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexrode.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I mean, I tell you what, he threw some really nice deep balls. I mean, we went up and down with 3 of them that we gotta make, and then again, we get into this drop back game, and that's not where we want to play the game. But I know we made some really nice balls that got up and down that hopefully we can figure out a way to catch and come down with.
How about Vrabel throwing the wide receivers under the bus last night?
I mean, I have 2 thoughts on that. First and foremost, you need to catch those balls. But also, second point is, what'd you expect, Mike?
So I have a
But
third.
you need to catch those balls.
I have a third point to that.
Okay.
What's the third one he's talking about? Conley drops the ball on the sideline.
Nick Westbrook-Akine.
On the sideline.
Is he talking about that Chig drop in the very last play, Titans possession regulation?
Well,
I'm going with the Hooper PI.
The PI?
Yeah.
I think that too. I mean, I thought he got interfered with on the play.
But he didn't make enough of attempts to actually make the catch.
I must be on drugs because I swear to you that I thought that was blatant, obvious textbook pass interference.
Maybe I have to rewatch it. Maybe I rewatch it. Did he tackle him, spin him around? I don't really.
Well, they're talking about the guy's head was turned around. I'm like, turned around to what? I thought his face mask was about to kiss Austin Hooper, and he basically was tackling him as the ball got there, and Hooper's trying to make the catch, and the guy's tackling him. I mean, if the Alabama-Tennessee one is pass interference, now Gary Danielson said it was iffy. But if the Alabama-Tennessee one where the Alabama guy's just got his arm around the Tennessee guy, if that's pass interference, then what happened to Austin Hooper last night was a freaking felony.
I thought it was PI.
I mean,
I thought it was PI.
That being said, stop throwing Chris Connolly under the bus. He stinks. That's why he's always available. Because he stinks. We're talking about contested catches. We talked about this last week when Mel Kiper Jr. ranked Jalen Hyatt ahead of Jackson Smith and Jigba. And I was like, that's nuts. When have you ever seen Jalen Hyatt make a contested catch? Because in college, you can scheme up something where the guy runs right by everybody and you throw it there and there's nobody around him and he runs into the end zone with a touchdown. When do you see that in the NFL? Never. So, you're going to have to make contested catches in the NFL. You're asking backups, and Hooper, you're asking backups to make contested catches. Now, I'll agree. If you're in the NFL and you got a pair of gloves and you're paid on the team, you need to make the catch.
Especially the Conley catch. I understand he was on the practice squad. I get it.
Of the Texans.
It was right in his hands. You have to come down with that ball.
And the only reason they signed Conley is because he can run. To run by somebody and throw it deep, which is why they originally signed Josh Gordon until they realized that he couldn't run anymore. So they signed Connolly because they want somebody to run, and he obviously can't do it either. What do we have in the text line, which I feel like we've kind of ignored today? 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com.
One texter texts in and says, we better enjoy Jeffrey Simmons now because he'll be gone soon.
Okay, so I think that's ridiculous. They will re-sign Jeffrey Simmons, and last night was a example of why they'll re-sign Jeffrey Simmons, and they'll get rid of everybody on the team in order to keep Jeffrey Simmons if they have to because he's that important. And, to me, that's not worth much of a discussion. Do we have any of the Downing haters in there? Because I feel like, again, we just went through every single drive they had in the second half, and I was like, where did Downing screw up? And I still figured that we'd have some anti-Downites in there, which I am an anti-Downite for sure. I can't stand Todd Downing. But I just didn't think that Todd Downing was the problem last night.
We don't have a ton of anti-Downites. I would say there's probably more anti-John Robinson-ites, just frustrated at the personnel that was on the field last night.
When you say frustrated at the personnel last night, are we talking about frustrated at the quarterback last night or frustrated at Connolly and Hollister and
I would say probably 75%
Swaim.
Receiving core and 25% quarterback.
Because I think the quarterback's a way bigger problem than the receiving core. Because when they put a real quarterback back in there, they'll win that game.
But when they put real receivers out there, they catch those balls.
Oh, no, they got rid of the real receiver. They had a real receiver.
Well, we cannot keep going back to that every single time.
We will go back to that.
We can't just cry about Chris Conley dropping a ball and say, oh, well, A.J. Brown wouldn't have done that.
A.J. Brown would have.
We got to move on.
Let me say this. A.J. Brown dropped the ball plenty in his career with the Titans. Before anybody gets in there and says A.J. Brown would have dropped the ball. A.J. Brown dropped the ball plenty, including a touchdown against the Colts on a Thursday night game that probably would have won him the game. So let me just nip that right there. But you bet your fanny we will be talking about A.J. Brown and how much they miss him every single day. And especially in like 4 weeks when they play the Eagles, that will be a topic that is discussed. Did you see A.J.'s tweet last night?
Yes, I did.
A.J.
And he deleted all of them.
Did he?
Yes.
Let me say this about A.J. Brown. That's why I didn't send you the tweet. I sent you a screen recording
Which I
of the tweet.
appreciated.
Because I knew he'd delete it. You can talk the talk if you can walk the walk. And right now, A.J. Brown's walking the walk. So.
And A.J. Brown, if you're going to talk it, leave it out there.
Hey.
Don't put it out there.
I agree
then
with that.
It gets scared and delete it. Put it out there.
I agree with that. If you're going to talk it, stand by your talk. Mm-hmm. Steven on Todd Downing, thank you for calling. What you got, Steven?
Hey, I kind of put most of this loss on Todd Downing, especially in the second half. Well, let me tell you, every single drive in the second half on first down, if you watch the tape again, Derrick Henry, run to the right guard. Every single time it seemed like that. The personnel lineup, you have no wide receivers. Why is Hilliard and Henry and Hooper not out there together? People that can catch the ball and make moves. The personnel is terrible. The way they set it up is terrible. And the play calling is just so inept. It is at the end of the game that
Can
last
I
drive,
counter your claim, Steven?
Yeah.
First down. Derrick Henry up the middle for 1 yard. So you're right. They handed off to Derrick on the first one. Second first down. Malik Willis incomplete deep left to Chigakonkwo.
Okay. All right. It seemed like almost every single one. And then, they'd get a flag. It seemed like almost every other drive in the second half.
And is that his fault?
No, but I just counted at least 4 times in the second half on first down Derrick Henry to the right guard or middle or right guard. And then when that last plays at the game, you need to have a one-read option for Malik Willis, period, at middle of the field, something. When they showed the replay, it was 2 guys running on each sideline with a bunch of defenders in the middle. Like, who is he going to throw to? I know they stink and he's not that great, but what are we doing?
So, Steven, I appreciate your call. I mean, this is where I did circle in purple, which means I'm going to have to look back at the tape to see what designs they had. Like, who was open? What were they trying to get open? Was nobody open? Because we saw Malik throw the ball away against the Texans with 3 guys wide open on the play. So I'm not going to hold that against Downing until I see the whole thing. But to your point about they give it to Derrick on first down every single time, duh, wouldn't you? I mean, with this team, wouldn't you give the ball to Derrick? I'd give the ball to Derrick. I mean, some people are criticizing him like this guy that they're giving it to Derrick too much, and some people are criticizing him that they only gave it to Derrick 17 times, so they didn't give it to Derrick enough. Well, which one is it? And again, I can't stand Todd Downing, but I cannot put this game. Again, I reserve the right to change my mind once I watch tape. But I cannot put this on Todd Downing.
Well, I think you have to be strategic when giving it to Derrick, because when the Titans are at 1st and 20, you're not handing the ball off to Derrick Henry, because that's not a first down that you're going to convert on. But like a 3rd and 5 when Malik just keeps it and runs it up the middle, like that is a scenario where I wouldn't mind seeing the ball being handed off to Derrick Henry.
So that's one where they didn't give it to Derrick.
Well, that's just one that I'm looking at in my notes right now.
I think
when Derrick gets 5 yards on the play before it's 3rd and 5 and Malik keeps it.
So I'm not a big believer in loser talk. And normally I would not embrace what I'm about to say. But Mike Vrabel said something yesterday about the team and the way that he feels about the game, and I completely disagree. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You watch the game.
Sliding across, making the stop, UC Cerro.
We talk the game.
That wraparound goal by Sanford was a beaut. Tanner Janot, Ryan Johansson gets on the board.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, crane works, rental works, yeah. The
big dog's got it.
Craneworks is ready to help lift Nashville. As the Southeast's most trusted name in crane and equipment rental for over 30 years, Craneworks offers certified operators to make sure the job is done right. RentalWorks has a diverse fleet of equipment to assist in any project, big or small. From forklifts to carry deck cranes, they have it all. When it's time for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project, call Craneworks. Visit craneworks.com.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be, but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers flying in their entire collections all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolex is also included. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. Genesis Diamonds. November 18th through 20th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Attention hockey fans, come see Northeastern and Western Michigan face off at this year's Music City Hockey Classic in a matchup of two of the NCAA's top 20 ranked college teams at Bridgestone Arena Friday, November 25th, 6:30 p.m. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. Let the puck drop and the excitement begin. Northeastern Huskies versus the Western Michigan Broncos in Nashville, November 25th.
Don't miss out on Black Friday deals at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, LG, Polk Audio, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, housewares, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne,
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman Company, Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome Game 7.
Checkered flag in the air. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stone & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live, thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios, Titans Monday. So Mike Vrabel yesterday took to the podium, and Mike Vrabel after the game at the podium is always the best time. He always says the pettiest, most just freaking... I mean, that's where you really get Vrabel, because he's walking off the field and he goes in there and he's like still in game mode. And that's where we get those smart ass comments like, as long as I'm the coach, which is going to be a while, like we got last year out of him.
Geez, okay.
That's where we get the tea from Vrabel. So he said something last night at the podium, very emotional, that I actually disagree with. This is what Mike Vrabel said after the loss at Kansas City, 20-17 in overtime.
You know, there's no moral victories. You know, we come on the road. You know, that's the thing I want to make sure. Like we came over here to win. That's all we were thinking about doing. So, you know, I don't want to go down this road of like, is there more we could done? Yeah, there's more that I could do. There's more that the coaches could do, and the players, until we can win.
No moral victories. We poured our heart into this game. We came here to win. All these things. And normally I agree. Football is a week-to-week league. Guess what? You can lose to the Broncos on Sunday, and they suck. But guess what? I do believe that last night qualifies as a moral victory for the Tennessee Titans. And I am taking it as such. Now, 99.9% of the time, I would call somebody who takes a moral victory from a game, unless you're like Eastern Lafayette State and you take Alabama to double overtime, I would consider you a loser if you were to take a moral victory.
That's loser talk.
Now, I grew up a Vanderbilt fan. Now, again, I was more interested in Tennessee losing than I was Vanderbilt winning as a kid, but I grew up a Vanderbilt fan. And I was fine with taking moral victories. We were right there with Florida. And then as I grew up and I got older, I realized the reason that I felt that way is because, well, Vandy loses a lot. And so, you know what? It's like, that's the way that people are going to go about it, and that's just how it is. But if you are in it to win it, then you can't celebrate moral victories. Except last night. And I'm going to tell you why I take a moral victory out of last night. Years ago, the best NFL team I've ever seen is the 2007 Patriots. They went undefeated until the Super Bowl, and they lost to the Giants. And the Giants had a great defensive line. And so the last game of the year, Week 17, the Patriots were 15-0. The Giants had already clinched a spot in the playoffs. There was nothing for either team to play for, but there was kind of the sanctity of the season and the undefeatedness and everything else that was on the table. So the Giants decided to play their starters, and the Patriots played their starters, and the Giants didn't game plan. So there wasn't, any, trick plays or, hey, we're just going to go out and play ball. And they did. And they lost the game. It was very close. They lost the end. And Michael Strahan said after that, we realized we could beat that team. We realized, even though we lost, that, this undefeated, big, bad Patriot team, we knew we could beat them. So flash forward to the Super Bowl. New England's the best team that anybody'd ever seen at this point. They're undefeated. They got Brady, Randy Moss, Willie McGinnis, Vrabel, Brewski, Dante Stallworth, Wes Welker. They're awesome. And the Giants know we can beat this team. Mm-hmm. And they do. I don't know about you, but if I was on the Tennessee Titans, I would have walked out of that stadium yesterday thinking, we can beat that team. The fact that we, talking about the Titans, were pretty much in command of the game for 40 minutes and did it with no quarterback. Not with a backup quarterback like Chad Henne, their backup, or like Case Keenum, the Buffalo backup, or like Gardner Minshew, the Eagles backup.
But even that would have been impressive. If you go out there and you're in the game with Case Keenum.
Sure. With no quarterback. The Titans went there with no threat of a passing game. Malik Willis threw for 80 yards. 40 of them came on the first play. So with no threat of a passing game, you went to Kansas City, one of the hardest places to play in the NFL, on Sunday Night Football, and you almost won the game. Now, look, there are some very serious standings ramifications from losing last night.
Yeah.
Which means that if these two teams meet in the playoffs, there's a fairly good chance that this game will be in Kansas City, which I don't like. But
also, they played that game last night in Kansas City.
They played it last night in Kansas City. And so you're telling me the number one, you know what I walked away from that game thinking too?
What?
They're tougher than Kansas City, which I kind of knew going in. We talked about it on Friday about how the Titans are a bad matchup for the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. But it confirmed it to me that Kansas City's going to try to be physical and they're going to try to, but they can't play Titan ball with the Titans. That rough, physical. The Titans tackled well. The Titans blocked well. The Titans ran the ball well. The Titans did all the things that it takes for the Titans to win with just a regular performance from Tannehill. They did it. Just like I told you all last year in the playoffs that I wanted Kansas City ahead of the Bills in Nissan Stadium for the AFC Championship game because I knew they would beat Kansas City. And that's why it broke my heart so much when Kansas City snuck it out against Buffalo and the Rams, who the Titans went to SoFi and dominated earlier in the season, ended up in the Super Bowl because it's like, The Titans out-toughed that team, and they out-toughed that team, and that travels, as we learned last night.
Yeah.
You don't need your starting quarterback to be tough. So, I mean, I know Vrabel will get up there and say no moral victories, and 99.9% of the time I would agree. But last night was different because you know the Kansas City Chiefs walked out of that stadium thinking, thank God Malik Willis played quarterback. Thank God Tannehill didn't play quarterback, or else we would have been in real trouble. And you know the Titans walked out of that stadium disappointed that they didn't win because they were in position to win and they didn't. But you know they walked out of that stadium thinking, we can play with that team. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure they walked out of Buffalo Stadium after week 2 and thought we can play with that team. But they definitely walked out of the stadium yesterday thinking they can play with Kansas City. And I know they can play with Kansas City. I mean, I picked them to win. And I said that, not with Malik, but when we thought Tannehill was going to play on Friday, I picked him to win because I just know that defensive line was going to dominate that offensive line, and they did. And so I know Vrabel says no moral victories. 99.9% of the time I agree. Chalk me up for a moral victory last night.
I think it's fair.
I'm not apologizing for that.
I think anything was on the table with Malik Willis at starting quarterback, and I was fully prepared for the Titans to just completely get blown out and embarrassed.
Was winning on the table for you with Malik at quarterback?
No.
Like, that's what Derek said yesterday. He's like, because I told Derek, I said, if they get down 10 points, they can't come back.
No.
They got down 9 because they missed the PAT, so they didn't get down 10.
So
9, they came back.
So when 9 is within reason.
Back, yes. But, I mean, winning was not – I did not – when they announced that Tannehill was going to play, I, on the pregame show last night at Twin Peaks, just dropped my head, and I was just like, oh, God.
I mean, the offense looking as good and effective as it did in the first half, more so like the first quarter, even that wasn't even really on the table for me. I thought the Titans were moving the ball well in the first half, first quarter.
Well, Derrick Henry took a ball 50 yards with 9 guys standing at the line of scrimmage.
Chig took a ball 45 yards.
Chig got tackled at like the 1 yard in and just
running.
ran right down.
He was running. So I have to give them credit, and I do kind of feel like I sound like a little bit of a bobo there, but to be completely honest with you, when I saw that Malik Willis was going to be the starting quarterback on Sunday night, I thought the Titans are going to lose by 2 touchdowns plus.
So let's get to your phones on this. Again, moral victories. 99.9% of the time I say no, but we got to be fair around here. And now look, if the Titans end up in a playoff game and Malik Willis goes in there to play quarterback, you will not hear the same tune out of me because that is malpractice if Malik Willis is playing in the playoffs. But right now, I mean, I feel great about the Titans after what happened yesterday. 615-737-1025. We have breaking news, and it is big. We'll get to that coming up next. And then we're right to your phones. 615-737-1025. TriStar Moving, those are my official movers. I don't know anybody who gets excited about moving because moving sucks. It's stressful, it takes a ton of time, and it is not fun. But when I moved with my buddies at TriStar Moving, they made my outlook on moving so much easier. That's why I've been telling you now. It's, by the way, happy 2-year anniversary to the day of my move with TriStar Moving.
Wow.
So, hey, it was 2 years ago that I moved into my home with TriStar Moving, and they did a fantastic job. I really seriously have been now talking about them for 2 years, obviously. I love them, and you will too. And as with every major project, just get a bid. When it comes to moving, get a bid. Bid out other companies. I tell you, you're going to be blown away by TriStar Moving. Just trust me on that. TriStar Moving, my official movers, 615-640-1219, or visit their website at nashvillemoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 10% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nashvillemoving.org/radio. 10%'s a lot of money on a move. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter, but it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Chef Mark at Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Hotel. Looking for a romantic dinner with that special someone? Be sure to join us and try one of our signature dishes, like our Australian cold water lobster tail, flash fried to perfection, and tossed in lemon butter. Did I also mention we've won the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence 7 consecutive years? Come join us for a memorable meal here at Omni and be sure to ask for Chef Mark.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Ajax Turner Company, Middle Tennessee's Anheuser-Busch distributor, is hiring full-time warehouse order pickers, forklift drivers, merchandisers, delivery, and more. Pay rates have increased, and new hires will now be eligible for a $500 sign-on bonus. This is more than seasonal work. This is a career with year-round stability and promotional opportunities. Go to ajaxturner.com/careers to apply or call 615-280-3904 for further details about open positions. Please remember to drink responsibly.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Got to get to the 35 or the Chiefs win. 4th and 26. Willis puts it up. It's incomplete and it's over. And Kansas City wins in overtime.
You know, I feel terrible for the players that compete, put so much into this and play through pain, through discomfort, through any situation. I'm lucky that I get to coach them. They fight, and we got to get back to work. We got to get healthy, and we got to get some rest and figure out a way to beat Denver coming off another bye. You know what I mean?
Better beat Denver. Now, let me say this. The one thing that does kill me, as much as I celebrate the moral victory of the Titans last night, dominating the Chiefs, playing their style ball, and just not having a quarterback and being able to win, the one thing that kills me is the AFC playoff standings, because I do think that now the playoff game would have to be in Kansas City. Now, maybe, Justin Herbert can help the Titans out. Maybe the Raiders, who can't get their heads out of their own rear ends, can win a game against the Chiefs. They came pretty darn close earlier in the year. Maybe somebody can steal a couple of games here so that the Titans can finish ahead. But this just in from Chris Mortensen, Bills quarterback Josh Allen is being evaluated for an elbow injury to his UCL, his ulnar collateral ligament, and related nerves per source. Bills coach Sean McDermott said earlier that the team hopes to have more info on Tuesday. Now, here's why this is a big deal. So I saw the end of the game between the Jets and the Bills, and I saw Josh Allen, after he uncorked like a 70-yard ball at the end of the game for a Hail Mary, grabbing his elbow and kind of doing a little twitch to it. Now, my roommate in college pitched in professional baseball and had Tommy John surgery, and I know what that looks like when a guy starts grabbing his elbow. I said on the pregame show yesterday with Derek that I saw what happened to Josh Allen, and I'm like, that could be serious. And Derek was like, well, let's hope it's not. And I agree. Like, I don't want Josh Allen to be hurt or anything like that.
Yeah.
But if Josh Allen has to have Tommy John surgery, the Buffalo Bills season, I mean, they're still going to make the playoffs, and they still got a good team. But, I mean, the idea of the Buffalo Bills is not the same.
It's a lot less menacing.
And so, I mean, I'll say this. I don't think I've ever heard of somebody that had a UCL injury. And I've heard a lot of, there have been a lot of times where guys have really not wanted to have Tommy John.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I've ever heard of somebody having that elbow injury and them not having to have the Tommy John.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard
especially
the stories.
As a quarterback.
I've heard of the stories where guys have tried the platelet treatment. Now, again, most of these guys are baseball, but where they try the platelet, where they put in that blood and they spin the blood or whatever, and then they put it in there and they give it some time to heal, and, they try on a pitch count or things like that. But pretty much everybody that tries some alternative form of Tommy John ends up ultimately having Tommy John. This happened to Ben Roethlisberger a couple of years ago, where Ben threw the ball and grabbed his elbow, and Ben had the Tommy John and was out for the season. So when Chris Mortensen reports that they are looking at the UCL and similar nerves in the throwing elbow, that is serious stuff for the Buffalo Bills. And again, I hope it's nothing for Josh Allen, because I don't want to win because the other guy got hurt. But if Buffalo doesn't have Josh Allen, I'm sorry, but you might be the best team in the AFC. And that's without A.J. Brown. Pretty crazy to think about. Because right now, I picked the Titans on Friday with Tannehill at quarterback. I picked the Titans to win.
I think they would have won on Sunday if Tannehill was the quarterback.
And not only that, I think the Titans are better than Kansas City. I think they are a bad matchup for the Chiefs.
Well, I mean, if you would have told me that the Chiefs would score 20 points against the Titans, 99% of the time I'd say, okay, well, then the Titans won.
Think about this. When the Titans beat the Chiefs in 2019, here in Nashville, everything had to go right for the Titans. The Chiefs fumbled the ball. The Titans picked it up, ran it into the end zone for a touchdown. Tannehill had an incredible fourth quarter comeback drive. The Chiefs botched 2 field goals, one of which ended up being intentional grounding, which I'm not sure I have ever seen intentional grounding on a fake field goal from a punter before, but it happened. Everything had to go right for the Titans in order for them to eke out a victory at home against Kansas City. And then they played in the AFC Championship game, and the Titans punched them in the mouth, but they just couldn't compete with the Chiefs over time. Mm-hmm. What happened yesterday? Kansas City needed absolutely everything to go right for them, including Malik Willis at quarterback. And they still barely won in overtime. Think about that. Just like how the Titans had to have everything go their way to eke out a victory a couple years ago, Kansas City at home needed everything to go their way, and it did, and they just barely eked out a victory. I think the Titans, if they were to play again, now I'd much prefer the game here, but if they were to play again, I think the Titans are the better team. I think the Titans are a bad matchup for Kansas City. I think the Titans are tough. I think the Titans take away what Kansas City wants to do, and so the option is to counter that, but they don't want to do that. They don't want to throw the ball short to Noah Gray in order to beat you. They don't want to do that. He wants to throw the ball down the field. That's what he wants to do. And so even if they come up with a game plan for Mahomes of, hey, this is what it's going to take to beat Tennessee, he'll do it, but he doesn't want to do it. He wants to throw it down the field. And I think if they get matched up again, I think if the Titans had Tannehill yesterday, and again, that is kind of loser talk, talking about moral victories, talking about if this, if that, but.
Well, I think that there's a conversation that you can have when it's involving your quarterback.
If Tannehill had played yesterday, I think the Titans would have had another score in the second quarter, and I think the Titans would have been on the verge of putting the game out of reach in the third quarter. And it would have been one of those games where everybody would have been stunned about what happened last night. Like one of those wow, is Tennessee for real? Stephen A. Smith, what do you think? And so I think that's what the Titans are. I think this defense is elite. I think this front is great. And right now, again, a giant question mark surrounding the Buffalo Bills. I think the Titans are better than the Chiefs. I certainly, I don't know about how the Titans match up against the Ravens or the Bengals or the Chargers or all these other teams, but I do know this. The number one thing to have in football is an elite quarterback. That's the number one thing. The number two thing, what stops the quarterback? An elite pass rush. And I watched Eli Manning win 2 Super Bowls because he had a dominant defensive line. So just keep that one in your back pocket. 615-737-1025. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Nick is up next on Todd Downing and has been waiting patiently. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I'm an anti-Downingite here more than ever because I stand firmly in the camp of we should have run the ball more in the second half. I mean, we didn't show up any clock, and we ended up letting our defense hang out to dry, and they got tired. You know you don't have talent at receiver. You know what your personnel is. You also know that you're ahead by 8 at the half because of Derek, and then you only give it to him on first down. If you just ran it all 3 downs with Derek no matter what, even if you just did that, you'd at least go 3 and out and chew up more clock. But he's going to get you a few first downs at least, and he's the most likely guy on the team to break one.
So I'm a little torn on what you're saying. Yes and no. But it's a fair point, and I appreciate your call. You know, I'm a big believer in run, punt, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure the Titans have played any run, punt since you've been here, but, you know, Jacksonville, when they had Blake Bortles as their quarterback, and it was so good that they just pin their ears back, come after the quarterback, turn them over, short fields, whatever, and they would never beat the Titans. And it was because the Titans would just run, punt, run, punt, run, punt. Blake Bortles would turn it over, score. And it took the league to figure that out, that Blake Bortles sucks so bad that just punt it to Jacksonville and then let Blake throw it to you. And so I'm a big fan of that a lot of the time. And I wouldn't mind run, punt against this Jacksonville team. But I'm not run, punt against the Chiefs. Regardless of how well my defense is playing. Now, if I'm up by 13 in the fourth quarter, I'm run, punt. But I'm not
run punting with your backup quarterback?
No. Because it's still Kansas City. I mean, I can run, punt against the Texans.
Yeah, and that's what they did.
I'm not run, punting against Patrick Mahomes. So that's where I disagree with that. But again, for all the people that are like, you know, run the ball more. Okay, here's the first series. Run, pass, penalty, run, punt. Second, pass, in which Willis missed an open guy. Run. Third, run. Pass on 3rd and 14. You going to run it on 3rd and 14? I mean, so they ran the ball plenty. They just didn't get any yards because Kansas City knew they were going to do that, and Kansas City was making them throw the ball, and they don't have anybody to throw it without Tannehill. And quite frankly, one of the big problems this season, no matter what Nick Westbrook-Akine wants to say after the game, is they really don't have anybody that can catch it. So Kansas City's like, yeah, we're not going to let him break off those big runs that he broke off. We're not letting that happen. And they still tried to run it, and they couldn't run it. So I'm just, again, I can't stand Downing, and I think he sucks, but I'm defending him for last night and I watched tape on it and then have an official, ruling. But I just think that it's easy to say, he should have given it to Derek Moore. And I'm like, where? Where should he have given it to Derek Moore? We had that 1 3rd and 5 where they gave it to Haskins or whatever. They could have given it to Henry. No, Malik ran with it.
Yes, yeah.
They could have given it to Henry. Other than that, where could they have run it more with Derek? Run it on 3rd and 14 with Derek?
No.
I mean, what difference does that make? Michelle is up next here on the program. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Michelle.
Hi, we are Titan season ticket holders. We flew into Kansas City to go to this game and cheer on. And I think that all of those Kansas City Chiefs fans, all sitting around us at the start of that game, were wishing us tremendous luck. They had their eyes open to how tough Tennessee is. And by halftime, they were silent. Walking out of that stadium, even though we took a loss, those fans were congratulating us, walking in our two-tone blue and our Titan jerseys through that sea of parking lot to get to our car. Everyone was cheering and saying those Titans put up a great fight. Oh, my gosh, they are tough. I think all of those fans got their eyes wide open.
Hey, how bad does that parking lot suck, Michelle?
Oh, it was crazy. It's a parking lot like I've never seen.
That parking lot sucks. Oh. But, Michelle, great call.
I think that you're right. The moral victory, I think they won it. They might not have had the numbers for the score, but they won the moral victory. completely, all the way.
Michelle, good call. Thank you for your call.
I do wonder if the Chiefs fans would be saying that if
they had lost.
If they had lost.
Yeah. So it's funny because a buddy of mine that I used to work with does the midday show in Kansas City. We used to work together in Louisville.
Yeah.
And I told the story last week on the air that I asked him, I'm like, do Chiefs fans think the Titans have any chance of winning this game? And he's like, no. And we were just texting back and forth, and I was like, look, the Titans' defensive line is elite. Like, it is elite, and they have Henry, and I was like, but then I texted him yesterday, probably around like 2 o'clock, and I was like, hey, word on the street is Tannehill's not going to play. And then I talked about a quarterback at Louisville that sucked, who ended up becoming a running back, a guy by the name of Reggie Bonifant, who I think is on Carolina right now.
No idea.
I don't know, but they tried him at quarterback, and he was no good. And I was like, it's going to be like watching Reggie Bonifant quarterback Louisville, which is what I was talking about with Malik, because Malik was so bad. I kind of want to text back and be like, so do the people in Kansas City have respect for the Titans now? Because the Titans honestly went in there and kicked their ass. You know,
but just
physically.
didn't beat them.
Yeah, just physically beat them. But they had, they didn't have a quarterback. Malik is not a quarterback. They did not have a quarterback. Like, Malik is a worse quarterback than Robert Woods is a punt returner. Like, they really don't have a punt returner either. But they did not have a quarterback last night. That was like a COVID game where the Broncos had to put a wide receiver. That's how I feel about Malik playing quarterback, is that he is that bad. He had 80 yards and 40 of them came on the first play.
And looking at the rest of the Titans' schedule, let's say, hypothetically, in a fantasy land, Ryan Tannehill's out for the season.
Oh, no!
But how many games realistically are on the rest of the Titans' schedule that we think Malik can't win that Tannehill could?
Cincinnati.
Dallas. But did you think that
Eagles.
Ryan Tannehill's going to be able to win that game anyways? Same thing with Philadelphia.
Dallas?
Yeah.
Dallas
or Philadelphia, you think that the Titans would have been able to win that game even with Ryan Tannehill?
Oh, I think
is your confidence that much different?
I think the Titans.
I wouldn't have gone on into that Philly game feeling confident with either quarterback.
Here's how I feel about the Titans the rest of the way. I think they're going to beat the Texans. I think they're going to beat the Jags twice.
Yep.
I think they're going to beat the Broncos.
Yep.
I think they're going to beat the Packers.
Yes.
So that's 5, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Jags twice.
That leaves
Texans.
That leaves Dallas
Broncos
at home and the Chargers and the Eagles on the road. I think, I would say either way, Dallas and the Chargers, I could see them losing. I could see them winning. I am not a Charger fan here. I think the Chargers are phony. So Dallas.
On the road, though.
Yeah, but they don't have any fans.
It's still a long road trip.
I know, but it's not like that place is hard to play at. Certainly not Arrowhead or anything like that. But so now you're talking about they have no chance to beat the Chargers or Dallas with Malik Willis at quarterback. And the Bengals. So that's 4. I mean, not to sit here and go over win.
When they went to overtime with the Chiefs?
No.
No chance.
No.
Do you think the Chiefs are better than the Chargers?
I think it's different. Remember how I think that the Titans are a bad matchup for Kansas City?
Yes, I hear you.
I don't think the Titans are necessarily a bad matchup for the Chargers, because the Chargers, they're built differently. Their game is different with their receivers, and the Chargers have a really good defensive line, which the Chiefs don't. They have a good player on the defensive line, but I don't think the Chiefs have a good defensive line. The Chargers do. Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
I know it's not apples to apples.
I don't think he'd have any chance against Dallas. I mean, I think Dallas would be a nightmare if he had to play that game. So,
but we say they're going to beat the Jags and the
I think they'll beat the Jags and the Texans.
All the games you really need to win.
With Malik. The Jags, the Texans. I mean, could Malik really go to Green Bay and win a game? I mean, hell is Arrowhead.
I mean, I would feel doubtful too. But
Green
also,
Bay
Green Bay's
sucks.
down bad.
They suck.
And I think Aaron Rodgers has given up on that team.
And I think that Matt LaFleur, boy, hey, where's Floyd, Ian? Where's he now on his guy Matt LaFleur?
Winningest coach, rookie coach in the history of the Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay's got good coaches, don't they?
The history of the Packers.
Better than Lambeau. You think Matt LaFleur can't coach? Yeah. How about that, old man? 615-737-1025. We're back to your phones next. Stillman and Company on a Titan Monday. ESPN 102.5, 106 through the game.
TD ESPN Titans NFL Nation reporter Teron Davenport brings knowledge.
3 touchdowns. He was processing, getting rid of the ball quickly.
Passion.
Make no mistake about it. He absolutely has to hit the ground running.
And expertise on the two-tone blue and the NFL. Join TD every Monday at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Friday morning at 8 for all the latest on your favorite team. Teron Davenport is presented by Craneworks on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Calling a criminal defense lawyer or a divorce lawyer, you may think it's the worst day of your life. It doesn't have to be. If you have quality, competent representation who can guide you through a complex system, we can do that for you, despite if you've been arrested for a DUI or a robbery charge, whether or not you're going through a divorce or a post-divorce, or demanding your fundamental constitutional right to parent your children. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
If you own a house, you've got a huge asset, and everyone's looking at it. With Wall Street investors buying up homes in Nashville and renting them out like never before, you have to wonder, what do they see in your big asset that you don't? If you sell your home instead of renting it, you can kiss your asset goodbye. The best way to save your asset is to rent it out. Go to renterswarehouse.com to book your free home rental price analysis or call 615-398-9550. Renters Warehouse. You can't buy happiness, but you can rent it.
National Playmakers Academy with former Vols Buck Fitzgerald and James Stone, along with former Austin Peay Governor Vic Wright, offer one of the best football developmental organizations in the nation. MPA has over 30 NFL alumni, 800-plus college football scholarship signees, and 25 high school football All-Americans. If you have a student athlete in middle school or high school that is looking for the best football training and college football recruiting help around, contact National Playmakers Academy today, 615-456-2680. Or email april.mpafootball@gmail.com.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Dear Online Threats, after all the time we spent together, I'm finally ready to say goodbye. I have to admit, I was careless. At first, I thought maybe you were not so bad. Then, after you moved into my software, I believed I was too weak to stop you. I was wrong. I can do better. So you know what? I have NordVPN now. See you? Never. Everyone can boost their digital confidence with NordVPN. All it takes is one simple click. NordVPN will block online trackers, hide your virtual location, and secure your device from malware-infected files during downloads. It will also detect malicious websites. So catch the Black Friday deal for a 1 or 2 year plan at NordVPN.com and get 3 months for free. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renters Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Matthias Ekholm. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
This is 3rd and 17. Mahomes is chased. Looking for somebody deep downfield. He's got to take off himself. Can he get there? Oh, he did! Mahomes to midfield for the first down. Nothing was open, and he made it happen for 20.
You can't do it. You can't let this guy get outside your edge. Just let him throw from inside the pocket all he wants. When he gets out in here, you might as well strike up the band because this is where all the magic happens. This is Mahomes at his best, and that was a backbreaker for Tennessee. Now they're going to have to regroup.
3rd and 17. If the Titans get that, they win the game. To me, there were 3 opportunities the Titans had where I felt like it was truly game-changing. The first was the Cody Hollister block in the back. The Titans had scored on 2 consecutive possessions. They were really moving the ball on the running game with confidence. Malik was operating with confidence. He even threw the ball a couple of times with confidence. The Titans up by 5 in the second quarter, 3:15 to go. Malik takes the ball to the Kansas City 46, but it's called back for an illegal block in the back on Hollister. That I thought was deadly. Up 8 with the ball at 50 and 13 minutes to go. The Titans only need 20 yards. Malik missed a throw to a wide open Chigakonkwo. That came earlier. But Malik missed the ball, and they only needed 20 yards. That was the one to Westbrook-Akine that they missed. Only 20 yards to make it an 11-point game in the fourth quarter, and Westbrook-Akine drops the ball, and the Titans don't move it any further. 7:11 to go, up 8, 3rd and 17. And Mahomes scrambles for 20, just like the AFC Championship game, which I thought we were past, because in the AFC Championship game, I chalked it up to the fact that the guys that he was beating out were Rashawn Evans, a solid yet underwhelming, lack of instinct player. He beat Tremaine Brock Sr., one of the single worst corners I've ever seen on the Titans, not named Deron Jenkins or Caleb Farley. And I want to say it was like Casey or one of those guys that was running up the sideline that, I love Casey, but at that point in his career, he just wasn't the same anymore. Whereas this group's got good players like David Long Jr. and Andrew Adams and sure tacklers, and they took bad angles. And the weak link, Rashad Weaver, I'm not going to say it's all about one guy, but when Rashad Weaver was in the game, now he did, there was a sack that DeMarcus Walker got, that Rashad Weaver's pressure from the outside forced Mahomes up into the pocket in which Walker got the sack. But for the most part, Rashad Weaver was pretty undisciplined with where he was rushing, and that led right there. You heard Collinsworth in that cut saying, you can't let him do that. Mm-hmm. You can't let him get outside. And I don't think it's an accident that Mahomes started running once Bud Dupree left the game. So think of that what it's worth. Corey is up next, 615-737-1025. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Corey.
Yes, sir. Hey, you talked a little bit about bringing a specific instance about Downing, and you kind of hit on this a little bit ago. With 11 and a half minutes, they were at the 38-yard line with 1st and 10. I know Bully doesn't have the strongest leg. He's 50%, I think, for his lifetime, over 50 yards. But if you just run the ball 3 times there from the 38, I mean, if you get down to the 33 or so, you go up 11 points there, and that's probably ball game. Instead, on 2nd down, they threw long, probably should have caught it. And then on 3rd down, you actually lose yards. To me, that's where I think sometimes he maybe tries so hard to prove that he's good at his job instead of kind of like, look, we need to go up 2 scores here with our horse. We probably win the ball game. So that's, I know he's kind of hamstrung by the personnel. You're dead right about that. But to me, that's one situation specifically where you gotta ride Henry there, give a chance for a field goal, and maybe in the ball game right there.
Okay, thank you for your call, Corey. Let's go back to that right moment. 10:51 to go in the game. 2nd and 9 at the Kansas City 38. At the 38-yard line, you think, 7 yards? I think it's more like 8 on a field goal. So you're talking about the 46 plus 10. So you're asking for 56 yards from Randy Bullock from that spot.
No.
Okay. So you're looking at 56-yarder. They throw the ball down the sideline to Westbrook-Akine, and he just doesn't make the catch. You have a problem with that play call?
I don't have a problem with the play call, no.
Okay. 3rd down and 9, they run a screen pass for Hilliard, a safe throw to where Willis can't turn it over, and the ball in the hands of, honestly, probably the 2nd or 3rd best playmaker on the offense. And the Chiefs sniff it out. And sometimes you do have to give credit to the other team. And Nick Bolton's a really good player, and he sniffed that out. Do you have a problem with that call?
I don't have a problem with the call, no.
See, that's the point I'm making, is that it's easy to say, okay, well, they're at the 36, so you're talking about a 50 or 38, so you're talking about a 56-yard field goal. Give it to Henry, and let's say Henry gets, the previous play got 1 yard. Let's say he gets 1 yard. Now it's a 55-yard kick for Randy Bullock.
That is the only critique that I think I could have, is that 2nd and 9, just run it again with Derrick Henry. But to that point, he got 1 yard on the play before. And then, he converted. He got, 6, 7, 8 yards on that play before that. I probably would have just run it again with Derrick Henry. But also, at some point, you're going to have to throw the football.
Kansas City was not allowing the Titans to do that. In fact, that Westbrook-Akine play is the exact same play in which the Titans scored a touchdown in the first half against the Chiefs last year. The difference was the guy throwing the ball was Ryan Tannehill, and the guy catching the ball was A.J. Brown.
I'm not going to put that on Malik Willis. I thought that was a fine throw.
The throw
Nick Westbrook-Akine just needs to catch.
Was an anticipation throw that Tannehill made sooner than Malik made it, which makes it harder because, the guy stops, and then Westbrook-Akine stops and then goes up. So if the throw comes out sooner, then Westbrook-Akine can just jump, and the guy can't see him stop and then go to jump. But there's little minor that's a minor detail that a veteran quarterback. But again, who's the guy he was throwing it to? A.J. Brown. If Malik throws that ball to A.J. Brown,
he catches that ball.
A.J. Brown, most likely. Now, A.J. had his fair share of drops, but A.J. probably catches the ball. And that's the whole point, is that with this, you all are mad that he didn't run the ball with Derrick, but what he did was he took what Kansas City was giving him. We just talked about Mahomes and how Mahomes doesn't want to throw it underneath the Juju Smith-Schuster every time. He threw it underneath the Juju Smith-Schuster because he couldn't throw it down the field to Valdez-Scantling, and he couldn't throw it down the field to Hardeman, and he wanted to throw it down the field to those guys, and he couldn't, and he wanted to throw it down the field to Kelsey, and he couldn't. So he took what the defense gave him, and he was just throwing it short to Juju Smith-Schuster. Well, the Chiefs were giving the Titans the outside there for the receivers. Malik threw it, and they just didn't catch it. I can't be mad at Todd Downing for that. And I can't stand Todd Downing, but I can't be mad at him, on the fringe of field goal range, really 10 yards away. Because if they're looking at a 56-yard kick, you need Randy at 46.
Even 46 makes me nervous.
So you want to run it twice with Derrick in the hopes that Derrick gets 10 yards, but they drew up a play that got a receiver open that an NFL starting receiver should catch. The problem is that Westbrook-Akine is not a starting receiver. In fact, my pick to click on the pregame show was Westbrook-Akine, and I said it was because I knew that they were going to get single coverage, and that if there was anybody that could run past somebody and catch it, it would be him.
Westbrook-Akine.
And so, that was kind of my, we're not allowed to pick Derrick Henry on pick to click anymore. So
probably smart.
I think it was probably the best shot that you had there.
But man, you go up 20-9, that game's over.
Over. It's over. If the Titans have made a field goal, it's over. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We're back into your phones here on the program, 615-737-1025. But again, I am counting this as a moral victory for the Titans. Edley's Barbecue. I love Edley's Barbecue. That's right. Edley's Barbecue. If you're going to the game Sunday, you got to tailgate with Edley's Barbecue. Hand off the tailgate prep to Edley's Barbecue and get your smoked wings in easy 25 and 50 count platters. Easily take smoked pulled pork, brisket, turkey, and scratch-made sides, family style. Edley's is perfect for the game if you're at home or if you're going to the stadium. So call your neighborhood Edley's or order online at edleysbbq.com. Voted Nashville's best barbecue 4 years in a row, Edley's Barbecue pickup, delivery, and full-service catering are all available. And they've got full bar packages and bartending services, which are perfect for any kind of gathering you may have. That's Edley's Barbecue, edleysbbq.com.
Every Wednesday at noon.
No matter the down and distance and no matter the score, they're going to give him the football.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Chase, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
I hope that they're not throwing flags simply because the league wants to see more of them.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
They are not as good at wide receiver and the playmaking department.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon. Presented by Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars and by Edley's Barbecue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Look for partly to mainly clear skies as we head through the overnight tonight. Temperatures drop back to the mid-50s. A gorgeous Tuesday to get out and vote. We'll look for temperatures in the mid-70s with sunshine. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is coming. November 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's an extraordinary event with savings of 20, 25, up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide sale. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. It's the final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamond, November 18th through 20th only. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year,
Joe Rexrode.
just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
He was listed as questionable. Ryan didn't play in the game. There's so many guys, Paul, that bust their ass out there tonight that I would be more than happy to talk about. So if we could ask about the players that actually played in the game, that'd be a great place to start.
There you go. That was Mike Vrabel talking about, I don't want to talk about Tannehill, although that's all I want to talk about. How about this little nugget? I don't know if you heard this. This was Harold. I don't want to say his last name because I don't want to get it wrong.
Well, what's the first initial?
K.
Okay, Harold K. What?
I'm going to say his last name is Kuntz. So Harold Kuntz of Fox 4 Kansas City
probably safe
tweeted out last night, quote, Chris Jones mentions he texted Jeffrey Simmons during the week and figured out that Malik Willis was probably going to play.
Okay, like why would Jeffrey Simmons say that though?
Okay, do we have any problem with that or any thought on that?
I mean, if that is true, then yeah, I have a problem with that.
I'm starting to wonder if Jeffrey Simmons is loose lips, sink ships kind of guy.
Why would he say that though?
Because it's the thing that maybe.
And that gives the Chiefs all week to scheme for Malik Willis.
And it's clear that the Titans are treating this like it's, the freaking nuclear codes. As far as what the status of the quarterback is. They're not going to tell anyone if he's
playing or not.
But here's my theory.
That's why they're not giving us any update on what's going on with Ryan Tannehill.
Here's my theory. Yeah, and Simmons is just telling the other team.
Yeah.
Reportedly. Here's my theory. Is that Simmons is probably the kind of dude who, when he knows, okay, this is the adversarial media, and it's like, hey, what do you think about your contract? I'm not here to talk about contract. You know what I mean? Well, whereas once he gets kind of warmed up, like in the athletic piece.
And on Sirius XM.
And on the Sirius XM interview where he said they were going to dominate the Chiefs, which they did. Maybe Simmons has kind of a big mouth.
I mean, but do we know for sure that he did that?
No.
Because I do know later he denied it, but which obviously, of course, you're going to deny ever saying that. But
all I know is that Harold Kuntz said that.
Are we 12 years old?
I've never heard of this guy before, so I'm just looking up what he said, and it's like, Johnny Joe, and it's like, Harold. Harold said.
Brother H.
Harold said, that's all I can go off of. Chris Jones mentioned he texted Jeffrey Simmons during the week and figured out Malik Willis was probably going to play.
But, why would Jeffrey Simmons say that? What does he get out of that? Like, Jeffrey Simmons saying that he wants a new contract, like, that's fair to say.
Sure.
Jeffrey Simmons saying, like, we think that we're a very dominant team, then, yes, that's fair to say. But to say, hey, opponent, our starting quarterback isn't going to play this week. Why would you do that?
So apparently Simmons denied this?
Yes.
Where do we know where he denied it?
Let's see.
I just looked at Twitter. I didn't see anything there where he took to explain his thoughts last time. So maybe he denied it like in the press conference or something like that.
This is per Bleacher Report. Titans Jeffrey Simmons denies tipping Malik Willis would play to Chiefs Chris Jones.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Steve is up next here on the program. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Steve.
Hello. Hey, Jared, Caroline. Hey, glad you took my call.
Yep.
I've been a fan since these people have came to town, and it seems like no matter what we do, how we shake it, we come up short. And I'm starting to think that maybe we're kind of like our owner, Amy. She just don't have the money like these Kronks with the Rams and these other places. And, Kansas City, you get rid of Tyreek Hill. Boy, they got a Juju Smith-Schuster and some more people.
Yeah, but Juju Smith-Schuster is just Juju
he's better
is
than what we have. But he's better than what we have. We have some dollar store players at wide receiver and tight end.
So
you can't win with no dollar store players.
I will say this: if you switch the wide receiving core, I don't think the outcome of the game changes.
Yes, it does, man. You look at what we got.
I do not think so.
With that quarterback, yes. But with Ryan in there, we got some guys up here, man. Come on now.
You said if A.J. Brown is catching that ball and
Thank you,
not
Steve.
Nick
And
Westbrook.
the offensive line. I'm not just talking about wide receivers. The offensive line, too. You got dollars.
I think line's fine.
Dollar store bin players.
I think the line is fine. Steve, thank you for the call.
Let me say this. Let me say this. You can't coach a GM, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator way you're out of dollar store players.
Now, I agree with that. And I've talked about that with guys like Westbrook Akine. Thank you, Steve. About him being a backup. Mm-hmm. He's a backup. And Hollister is not even really an NFL player. And so I agree with that sentiment that these receivers stink. I'm not saying that. But with Malik Willis at quarterback, if you had switched it, I don't think it would have made a difference last night. I mean, the guy that they chose to throw the ball, the guy that made the biggest catch of the game last night was Noah Gray. Who the hell's Noah Gray?
I don't know. But, I mean, you're saying if you switch the wide receiver core, that game isn't any different?
So you give Malik Willis, Hardeman, Kelsey, Juju, Valdez-Scantling, and Tony, and Noah Gray, because Noah Gray apparently is unbelievable.
Does Mecole Hardman catch that ball that Nick Westbrook-Akine didn't?
Mecole Hardman doesn't run that play. Mecole Hardman, all he does is go deep. He doesn't come back and jump up in the air for the ball. That's not his game. Just like, for instance, like it's not Robert Woods' game to run by somebody down the field and chuck it really far. Does Mecole Hardman make that catch? Normally, I'd say probably.
I'd feel better about Mecole Hardman making that catch than Nick Westbrook-Akine. And that's my point, is you get set up in so much better position there, and then the Titans probably can score some points there, whether it's 3 or 7. And then that's a different game.
Do the Kansas City wide receivers block for a guy to run 50 yards down the field?
I don't know.
I mean, when's the last time Kansas City ran the ball and the running back went out, busted one for 60 yards?
Well, why would you run the ball with your running back when Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback?
Well, you're going to have to run it if Malik Willis is your quarterback. Even if you've got Edwards-Helaire and those guys. That's my point. Everything changes.
I'm not saying if the Titans have the entire Chiefs receiving core, but let's say there's one.
That's what I'm saying. If we switch
one other guy out there that can catch the football.
And the Chiefs
receivers. It's not Nick Westbrook-Akine, that it's somebody else. And a certified starting wide receiver, it's probably different.
The best guy to make that catch for them would be Juju Smith-Schuster. To be the stop, jump in the air, and try to catch the ball would probably be Smith-Schuster. Now, I don't know if Smith-Schuster can run, down the sideline anymore with a DB. But he probably is the best stop and start up in the air, make a catch guy. Everything they threw to him was underneath. Do you think the Titans would have used Juju like that? Of course not. The Titans don't even use their own tight ends like that. Then the Chiefs use Juju. It's just, that's not how the Titans play. Everybody makes the wide receivers stink, for sure. But, I mean, unless you went out.
You can't act like it's a total non-starter. If
none
you
of
can acknowledge that the players stink.
To me, none of the Kansas City guys are either A or B level players except for Kelsey. He's the only
Hardman?
one. No.
You don't think he's an A or B level player?
Oh, no. I mean, I don't think he is. I think Mecole Hardman is a C level player. Like, and his best fit was when he was the third deep guy on Kansas City.
Then who would you classify as an A or B level player?
Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
So that's an A-level player.
Well, that's
so
obvious.
when they had Mecole Hardman last year, the way that they did it was Tyreek number 1, Kelsey number 1, 1A, 1B. Both guys were A's. Then they had Byron Pringle, who was their also deep guy, to go with Hardman that were just kind of the deep guys. Kind of like Chris Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Sanders, and I mean no disrespect to this with Chris, but Chris was the deep ball guy because he could run.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Derek was the A-level guy. And so I don't think, other than Kelsey, either team has an A-level guy. And that's why I don't know, would Travis Kelsey, with that unbelievable chemistry with Mahomes, with Malik Willis in there that can't even hit open receivers, would that have made that big of a difference last night? Whereas the big catch was made by Noah Gray. Sometimes these bum-level players have to make some plays for the Titans. But again, with Malik, I just don't know if he's going to put them in position to do that other than asking them to make contested catches, which they can't make because they're not good. And the Chiefs guys don't make contested catches other than maybe Juju a little bit. But even last night, everything Juju caught was wide open underneath the middle. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. It's not all bad because I am starting to believe something that I did not believe probably last week. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company. Titans Monday, 102.5, 106 for the game.
You love the game.
Tennessee touchdown! Middle Tennessee gets the score.
We live the game.
Just work on the little things every day.
They think the coaches are just coaches. We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sarah.
The game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, football fans. Dak Prescott here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Hey, it's Hutton for the Low T Center. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-injected home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Signs First, Nashville's leading locally owned and operated sign and physical media company, has been supporting local community organizations for over 30 years. Signs First offers a 10% discount to all churches, nonprofits, and charities. Go to sfnash.com.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
You can't get much for $5 these days, unless you go to Wendy's for a $5 Biggie Bag. Get your choice of double stack, junior bacon cheeseburger, or crispy chicken BLT, plus 4-piece nugs, fries, and a drink, all for just $5. That was smooth, wasn't it? That's how you're gonna feel when you get that Biggie Bag at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes 4-piece nuggets, small soft drink, and small fry. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Superspeedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios, Titans Monday. Let me just say it as bluntly as I can put it, because I'm a blunt guy. After last night, I believe in the Tennessee Titans. Now, I can't define what that belief equals, because I don't know the extent of the injury for Josh Allen. But if Josh Allen's out for the year, and I think he might be, again, Chris Mortensen reporting it's a UCL, and they'll have further tests, but normally when baseball players have UCL injuries, it means Tommy John surgery.
The video looked rough.
Although most baseball pitchers don't tear the ligament from, and obviously baseball's not a contact sport, but most of it, it's all like throwing it, and then the ligament pops. I didn't know that the ligament pops from being pushed back like that, but the video does look bad. So we'll keep an eye on that. But I believe in the Titans. And I'm going to tell you why I believe in the Titans. The Titans currently have 5 wins. Jacksonville, 7. Houston, 8. Denver, 9. And all these teams I'm talking about, they suck. Like, we are far enough in the season to know that the Denver Broncos are bad.
Yes.
8 right there. Green Bay, I'm sorry.
That's 9 right there.
Well, Green Bay makes it 9. Right?
It would be 2 against the Jags.
7.
1 against the Texans.
8.
Broncos.
9.
Packers.
Green Bay, 10. And I think we can all agree that, the Green Bay had a bad game, or Green Bay's in a bad stretch, or it's early for Green Bay. That's over. Green Bay's bad.
Green Bay is bad.
They're bad.
Aaron Rodgers just seems down bad about that team and doesn't want them to be good.
And not only that, like, if you're going to do that, it's one thing to do that against a team that has actually a good defense. Like, the Commanders' defense is not bad.
Not bad. Montez Sweat, bad dude.
It's not wrong to do that. But the Lions, I think they're the worst defense in the league. So, I'm sorry. They're bad. 10. The Packers, that's 10. So now that leaves Cincinnati, Dallas, and Philadelphia and the Chargers. Let's say they take 2 of those. Now you're at 12. That's the same record the Titans had a year ago, 12-5, which was good enough to win the AFC. Kansas City last night, I think, proved that they have some serious flaws. That their defense is not very good, and that right now I think he misses Tyreek Hill. I do. Because even though Hardeman can run, he's not Tyreek Hill.
He's always going to Travis Kelce, too.
He is always going to Kelce. And so Kansas City's going to win a lot of games. But I am not I'm not a huge believer in them. But the Titans' defense is freaking legit. And the defensive line is dominant. And that makes me think that maybe the Titans can pull off the Trent Dilfer run. Because people forget about this. When the Ravens started that 2000 season with that great defense, they had a guy by the name of Tony Banks as their quarterback. And they played the Titans, and Tony Banks threw an interception, and Randall Godfrey returned it for a touchdown. And I think the Ravens lost another game after that, and they were kind of a disappointment, so they made the switch to Trent Dilfer, and they didn't lose again. And Dilfer, as much as people use him as the poster child for not a great quarterback who won a Super Bowl, Dilfer made enough throws, whether it was to Shannon Sharp in the divisional round here, whether it was to Shannon Sharp in the AFC Championship game across the middle, ran into the end zone for a touchdown, whether it was Brandon Stokely on a deep ball in the Super Bowl, he made enough throws. He was a legitimate quarterback, not a great quarterback, but he was a legitimate quarterback, kind of like Tannehill, who made just enough throws, kind of like Tannehill has so far this season. The Titans have a dominant running game in which everybody in the ballpark knew that Derrick Henry was getting the ball yesterday, and he still carried it for 6 yards a crack last night. And he doesn't look like he is stopping, though he does not look like the same Derrick Henry because he got caught from behind twice last night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
My notes, caught behind.
And he got caught from behind against the Texans, which is concerning. But they got a great running game. They get better every year throughout the course of the year with this coach. It has never not happened that they haven't become a better team throughout November and December. And again, they have a dominant defensive line. They have a disciplined defense. They have a good tackling defense. I will be honest with you, I will be stunned if Tannehill plays, if they lose any of the remaining games against the bad teams. And I will be, I think that they, right now, if I had to just pick them, just like I picked the Titans to beat the Chiefs, because I think the Titans are a bad matchup for the Chiefs. And we all know if Tannehill played yesterday, they would have won. We all know it. So if I had to pick them right now, Titans at the, Packers, we're going to pick the Titans right now. Titans at the Chargers in December, I'm taking the Titans. Titans at home on a Thursday night against Dallas.
I would probably lean Dallas.
I'm taking the Titans. Thursday night football favors the home team.
I know.
Because there's not a lot of turnaround time. And Dallas offensively has not. Now, look, if they decide to do the smart thing and play Tony Pollard more, I think they have a better offense. But I don't love Dallas offensively. I don't think their passing game is very much. And the Titans' defensive line is dominating people. So I would take the Titans over Dallas. And I do think the Titans could beat the Eagles. So I guess it's a long-winded way of saying that outside of Buffalo, I think the Titans can beat any team that is left on their schedule or that they could face in the AFC playoffs. I still certainly think all those teams could beat the Titans. I think the Ravens, who play tonight and are an up-and-down team, I think they could beat the Titans. I think the Bengals, who if they play the way they played yesterday against Carolina, though Carolina is a steaming pile of nothing, but the way they played against the Browns the week before, they were terrible, and so they dominated Carolina. I think the Bengals could beat the Titans, but I think the Titans are a better team than the Bengals, especially defensive line versus offensive line. Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow's a good quarterback, but we saw 9 sacks last year in a playoff game. If you just don't turn it over 3 times, you win that game. And that goes for almost every game they play, in which I don't see a quarterback left on their schedule that can't get spooked by a great defensive line. Now, I don't think they'll go undefeated the rest of the way, but I do believe that this team can compete for the Super Bowl. And this is the part that just hurts my heart so much, is that we didn't know that it was going to be like this. We didn't know that Green Bay was going to stink so bad. We didn't know that Russell Wilson was going to be so terrible. We didn't know all these things were going to happen. We didn't know that, Josh Allen would have a mysterious elbow injury that we don't know how bad it's going to be.
Well, it's not mysterious.
We didn't know that Tom Brady would have nothing around him in Tampa Bay because they're awful. We didn't know all of these things. Had we known those things, they probably don't trade A.J. Brown. But this is why I wanted the Kansas City game before the trade deadline and not after the trade deadline. Because if it came before the trade deadline, then you could see how desperate the Titans need.
Your deficiencies are exposed against a good team.
A much better wide receiver than they have right now. Just one much better wide receiver. Now, they think it's going to be Burks, but, I'll believe it when I see it. But how they could have used a guy. Then how badly they need a real backup quarterback, a real backup, a guy that has experience, that has won games, just like how Buffalo today was asked, hey, if Josh Allen's out, what about Case Keenum? And Sean McDermott's like, we trust Case Keenum. He's won a lot of games in this league. He's got a lot of experience. He's a great backup for us. Just one of those guys instead of what they got now. And then they could have swung a trade with one of these bad teams that has a veteran backup quarterback for a 6th round, 7th round pick for a bag of balls. But the Chiefs game came after the trade deadline, which is very disheartening. But I am a believer.
But even if it came before the trade deadline, do you think that they would have made a move?
Don't they have to?
I don't think they would have. Do you think they had to before the trade deadline?
I did, but what I think, they always don't, think the same thing as me, but they don't have a backup quarterback. Malik cannot go into a playoff game and hold his own. The guy that Buffalo is going to have probably start this week at Minnesota was the quarterback of the Minneapolis Miracle. Shocking that the wide receiver who caught that pass is also on Buffalo, and they happen to be playing Minnesota this week. Crazy how that works out. But he's made 60 starts in his career. I mean, this is, and, with the Colts, who knows what's wrong with, if you had called the Colts, and I don't think Nick Foles knows the system, But if you called the Colts and you offered a 7th for Nick Foles, they would do it.
Probably.
I mean, wouldn't you rather have Nick Foles as the backup here right now than Malik Willis?
Probably.
Probably.
Yes.
Okay. And yet the Titans can't do any of that because the trade deadline has passed. So now it's all about who's on whose practice squad.
I still don't think they would have done anything about it.
There would have been more pressure to do it after the Kansas City game. More real pressure to do it. And not only that, you know that ownership, yeah, we're putting him back out there in a playoff game. There is no excuse for the what if scenarios, because we can always say, well, and I kept saying this during training camp. I kept saying, if something happens to Tannehill and he has to go in a game against, I don't know, Kansas City, can he deliver? And now there is no arguing the answer is no. There is no argument in defense of Malik Willis that he could competently back this team up in a playoff game. Now, again, they went into 2 playoff games with Logan Woodside as the backup against the Ravens and the Bengals. And we wondered at the time, if something happens to Tannehill, it's just nothing ever did happen to Tannehill. But there is no argument for Malik Willis. That being said, I'm a believer. I'm a believer in the Titans, partly because I think the league stinks, but also because
the league does stink.
Stinks. I think this defensive line is legit. I think that is the second most important thing in the NFL to a quarterback. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your phones. 615-737-1025. Again, that Josh Allen news is interesting to say the least. Now, there is one thing that does bother me about last night's game, even though I feel so great about the fact that the Titans competed. We'll get to that, and then we're right to your phone. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game. Hey, after the Broncos game, be sure to tune into the postgame show with Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow. They will be live. That's right. They will be live at, I believe it is Land Shark Bar and Grill inside of Margaritaville. The Superbook Lounge in Land Shark Bar and Grill at Margaritaville. And the postgame show is brought to you by Renter's Warehouse, Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your Ford from Two Rivers Ford. And Superbook Sports voted the #1 sports book in Vegas. Download their app today.
College football.
Touchdown, Georgia. Nice catch and move by Holden. Touchdown.
Lives here. Don't miss every exciting play each Saturday.
Into the end zone. Touchdown to the freshman, Dane Key.
It's all presented by Twin Peaks, your home of 20-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and by Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The final matchup of the Tennessee basketball team's 3-game series with Colorado is coming to Nashville. Don't miss the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena Sunday, November 13th. Be there to witness your Volunteers in action as they look to run their all-time record against Colorado to 5-0. Sunday, November 13th, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Red Cap.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
When it comes to sports, it's all happening right now. Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Football, basketball, hockey, and soon enough, the World Cup. And there's no better place to wager on all of that than Superbook Sports. When you sign up, deposit, and wager in the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. When the sports world is busy, it's time to get busy winning some money. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit Superbook.com to wager and win today, just like me. Visit Superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers flying in their entire collection all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolex is also included. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. Genesis Diamonds. November 18th through 20th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
312 Pizza Company is the official sponsor and location of Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
There's no moral victories. While we come on the road, that's the thing I want to make sure. Like we've came over here to win. That's all we were thinking about doing. So, I don't want to go down this road. Is there more we could done? Yeah, there's more that I could do. There's more that the coaches could do. And the players, until we can win.
I am accepting of the moral victory last night for the Titans. Their defensive line was dominant. They controlled the game. They made Kansas City play Titan ball yesterday on the road, and they had no quarterback. And they didn't even have a backup quarterback last night in Willis. And so, look, if they don't have a quarterback, they will lose in the playoffs, and it doesn't matter. But I am taking the moral victory yesterday. And Ian said something during the break that I don't disagree with, which is it is hard to accept the moral victory when they were so close to winning. But I would say that is where you have to leave the emotion at the door. That is the emotion of so close, and it crept into everybody's brain last night that they might pull this freaking thing off, and they didn't. But it felt for about 2 hours like there was a chance they might pull this off. And so the excitement of, oh my God, what if they pull this off, existed for so long that it started to fester itself as an actual possibility. And in the end, we have to remember that they just went to Kansas City and lost in overtime in a game in which Kansas City had to throw it 68 times. And they had no quarterback. That's pretty impressive.
It is pretty impressive, and it's not what I expected. I expected it to be a really ugly blowout.
There you go. So you have to leave the herd at the door. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Mark is up next on Frank Reich, who just got canned in Indianapolis. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, how you doing, man? I just wanted to pose a question for you and Caroline. I know you're not a big fan of the OC Downing in Nashville, but say Vrabel got rid of him at the end of the season. Would you consider, or would you like the fact that he may would go get somebody like Frank Reich, bring him in as your OC? Frank's always been a good OC. It's just a head coach that you can't, that he just doesn't fit the mold as a head coach. But as the OC, he does a pretty good job as offensive coordinator. You think they would consider that?
So Frank Reich, thank you for the call. Frank Reich's been an offensive coordinator in two different spots. He was a coordinator for the Chargers, and he got fired. And then he was the coordinator of the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl, and Doug Peterson called all the plays. I don't foresee that to be a possibility. One, I'm not convinced Frank Reich's a good coordinator. I mean, I need more proof. Like, I need, something more than just, hey, Frank Reich was the offensive coordinator who didn't call the plays for the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl, that one miracle year the Eagles had. Secondly, I didn't like a lot of the decisions that he made offensively with the Colts, and I'm not sure how much better he made anybody in Indianapolis with their offense over the years. And third, he doesn't run the system the Titans run. Frank Reich runs the Andy Reid system. That is, kind of that Bill Walsh thing, right? So Bill Walsh goes to San Francisco. He's got the Bill Walsh coaching tree. Mike Holmgren was off the Bill Walsh tree. He's got Andy Reid and John Gruden in Green Bay. Andy Reid goes to Philadelphia. Andy Reid has Doug Peterson. He's got Matt Nagy. He's got Nick Sirianni. He's got all these guys that are on the Andy Reid tree. Frank Reich runs the same plays as that. And so that's a different system than what the Titans run, which is the Shanahan system. So we're talking about Bill Walsh system over here, Shanahan system over here. So the Shanahan, we're talking about McVay, we're talking about LaFleur, we're talking about Arthur Smith, we're talking about Zach Taylor. It's different. And so Frank Reich doesn't run the system the Titans run, so I don't foresee them going that route. Plus, not only that, I don't foresee Vrabel firing Downing, even though he should. And if he does fire Downing, I think he's going to hire his buddy Tim Kelly to be the offensive coordinator anyways.
Which would make more sense.
So that's just kind of where I am on that one. I don't really – I mean, we're sitting here talking about whether or not the Titans can compete for the Super Bowl. I don't want to talk about who they're going to go get this offseason at offensive coordinator.
And haven't we been celebrating for the past few years that the Colts have an incompetent head coach?
Oh, I'm sad today.
So why would you go out and hire him?
I agree. Now, some guys are good coordinators.
Yeah.
But, no, I'm sad today. Tomasa is up next here on Stillman and Company. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Tomasa.
Hey, I just feel like you don't like Malik Willis for some reason. And it's like he didn't lose that game.
Could the reason be, Tomasa, that he's not a very good quarterback?
He's a rookie. Do you expect him to come out playing like Tom Brady?
No, but I expect him to complete more passes. I expect him to play like, well, I don't because I saw him in training camp, but I would expect a rookie to play like Bailey Zappi, and he didn't play like Bailey Zappi.
And he don't have the wide receivers Zappi got either.
Who are Zappi's wide receivers? Who are the wide receivers in New England?
Myers, Jacoby Myers. He's got a tight end, John New. I mean,
they don't even play John New.
It's a totally different offense in New England. We got the coordinator. Oh my God, his calls are so predictable that and then you can't even.
I will back you up on the coordinator. I can't stand him, though. I didn't think he was the problem last night. I do, for the most part, agree with you about the coordinator.
He's very predictable. You could have put Henry in to be a decoy. Defenses know what we're going to do.
See that, Tomasa? That's a good take right there. Good take on that part about the Derrick Henry thing, because I haven't mentioned this today, and it got me. Good call, Tomasa. And it got me right up my freaking keister last night, which is, if you're going to, run something which is a pass play or whatever, if you want to keep in second down, 3rd and 19, they know Derrick's not going to run the ball.
Right.
But put Derrick in the game. Make them think that Derrick Henry might get it when you go to throw it. Now, I only noted one time where I was like, why isn't Derrick in the game, when I went back and watched it? But I felt, when I watched the game yesterday, that they took Derrick Henry out and they put Haskins and Hilliard and those guys in more when they should have had Derrick in there. By the way.
And I do wonder how much of that is it being conservative with Derrick, because they ran a few fakes, they ran a few play actions with Derrick, but I do wonder how much of it is Hassan Haskins and Dontrell Hilliard just to give Derrick Henry a little bit of reprieve.
Bailey Zappi, who was drafted in a round lower than Malik Willis, Bailey Zappi started 2 games. He completed 17 passes and 24 passes in those 2 games.
Malik hasn't even completed 17 passes total.
Bailey Zappi completed 10 passes when he came in the middle of the game against the Green Bay Packers as the 3rd-string quarterback when Brian Hoyer got concussed, and he completed 10 passes in that game alone. And then when he replaced Mac Jones in the Chicago game, he completed 14 passes. So Bailey Zappi has literally completed more passes. And I'm not going to sit here and argue about who has the better receiving core. Who's a better receiving core? Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, and Jacoby Myers, or Robert Woods, Nick Westbrook, Akine?
They're both bad.
They're awful. It's not like we're sitting here comparing that to, well, he's got Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis. No. I know he doesn't have that. But it's not like Bailey Zappi. It's not like Bailey Zappi wasn't throwing for 300 yards. He was throwing for 180 yards. That's all I'm asking for, just competence quarterback play. And they're not getting it from Malik. And again, Downing, I don't like Downing, but I keep asking everybody today, what did Downing do that was so bad? And then I go through the situation.
I probably initially would have done something different. A run play when it was a pass play when it was a run play. And then I look back and I think, did they really have another option?
Well, the most pissed off I got at Todd Downing yesterday was when Derrick Henry took the ball in the shotgun snap and ended up scoring a touchdown.
But in that snap, though, we always criticize Todd Downing for calling those wildcat plays. I thought Derrick Henry looked totally confident taking that snap yesterday.
I didn't think Malik. I thought they were going to throw a penalty on Malik. I got too caught up in that. Because why did I think they were going to throw a penalty on Malik?
Yeah.
Because they threw a flag. And then they talked about it for a while. Now, this Blakeman crew is, incompetent. But Malik was running, and you know how they always sometimes throw, that the wide receiver was covered up by the tackle, or the wide receiver was not set and was moving an illegal shift, and I don't know the exact rules about where everybody has to be lined up on certain plays where the quarterback motions out of the backfield. So Malik looked very uncomfortable to me because he looked like he was 2 yards off the line and he was running and they took the snap and they threw a flag. And so I was kind of more worried about that. I still don't like it when Derrick takes the shotgun snap. And I also wonder, could they have just handed the ball to Derrick and he had done the same thing?
Probably so.
So that was the one thing that really honestly pissed me off when it happened. But then they scored a touchdown, so I didn't get mad about it. I still don't like Derrick Henry taking the shotgun snaps. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. It happened to the Titans, and then they had to deal with the other side of it. And now I see something very similar happening to the Chiefs. We'll get to that coming up next. Plus, we are going to give away a pair of tickets right now. But wait to call, 615-737-1025 to the Music City Hockey Ticket Giveaway. Be caller 5 right now, and you will win a pair of tickets to Music City Hockey at Bridgestone Arena on Friday, November 25th. Attention hockey fans, come see Northeastern and Western Michigan face off at this year's Music City Hockey Classic at Bridgestone Arena, November 25th at 6:30. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. Let the puck drop and the excitement begin.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robbie and Rexroad every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yost.
Matt Duchene. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 102.5 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. And with the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the latest power tool in roofing. Searching, ordering, tracking. Plus the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
OrderGreen.com. You know them by now. They're my only choice for high-quality THC and CBD products, and they're delivered right to my doorstep. Hey, folks, Joe Rexroad here. Yes, you heard that right. OrderGreen.com will send cannabis products right to you with discreet same-day shipping. OrderGreen.com has been great for me. Just what I need during this busy time of year. Takes the edge off physically
mentally. Terrific products. And if you use promo code Joe20, you're going to get 20% off your first purchase at ordergreen.com. Do you have a subscription at ordergreen.com? It'd be a lot cooler if you did. You won't be able to tell if you're in Colorado or Tennessee. Trust me. That's ordergreen.com.
Get in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. The game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Ryan Johansson. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
3rd and 4, empty backfield. Willis puts it up top for the tight end. Austin Hooper, incomplete. And no flag is thrown. It will be 4th down. Trent McDuffie is back in the lineup, but first-round pick out of Washington, step for step on the coverage.
I'll just say this. If Austin Hooper had stopped and gone right back through McDuffie, he would have either caught it or drawn the pass interference call, but because McDuffie had his head turned around, Mike Vrabel was going to scream.
Mike Vrabel's going to scream because that was pass interference and they should have called it. Now, here's the thing. In 2019, there was a game, the Titans hosted the Kansas City Chiefs. The Titans had gone on the road to Carolina and gotten embarrassed by the Panthers. Joe Rexrode at the time wrote in The Athletic that there was no way the Titans were going to make it to the playoffs. They did end up in the AFC Championship game. But Joe said after that Carolina loss, that team was not going to the playoffs. And then they played the Kansas City Chiefs. And I said that week that they had no chance to win. No chance to beat the Chiefs. And Floyder was all, well, what if this happens, or what if that happens, or what if this happened, or what, there's all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, that crazy stuff's not all going to happen. The Chiefs fumbled the ball. Rashawn Evans picked it up, ran it in the end zone for a touchdown. Derrick Henry had 188 yards on the ground, including one of those breakaway home runs that he ended up hitting. The Chiefs, in the end of the game, ended up screwing up 2 field goals, one in which it was a bad snap, another one in which they weren't ready for the snap when it came, and the punter just picked the ball up and threw it out of bounds and got called for intentional grounding. Ryan Tannehill led a fourth-quarter comeback in which he ran for a first down, hit Anthony Ferkser for a big throw, and then threw a touchdown pass, I believe, to Adam Humphries to end up winning the game. It was like everything that day just fell into place for the Titans. Now, it wasn't perfect. There was a bad call on Ryan Tannehill got sacked, and he was laying there with his hand on the ball, and he got up after the play was over, and Chris Jones picked up the ball, and they called it a fumble, which was ridiculous in that game. But all those things had to happen in order for the Titans to beat Kansas City. Then they played in the AFC Championship game. And I remember holding it in all week that I thought the Chiefs were going to blow out the Titans. Now, the Chiefs didn't blow out the Titans, but I kind of thought all week that the Chiefs were going to blow out the Titans and that there wasn't really going to be any way for them to win that game in Kansas City. And I remember doing the show at KMOX in St. Louis, and we were making our final picks, and Chase was with us that day because we were going from St. Louis to Kansas City because the roads were iced up or the runway was iced up in Kansas City, so we had to fly to St. Louis. And Chase picked the Titans to win because, of course, Chase picked the Titans to win.
Of course.
And I was like, yeah, the Titans aren't going to win. And ultimately, Kansas City was just the better team. And when they played it over the 8 quarters, the Titans got their shots in there. And it was competitive. Titans lost by 11 in the AFC Championship game. Same amount that San Francisco lost the Super Bowl by. But Kansas City was just a better team. But everything had to go right for the Titans that one day at home. Well, last night, I believe everything had to go right for Kansas City. If Ryan Tannehill plays, Titans win. If they throw the flag on the pass interference on the Austin Hooper thing, I think the Titans win. If Bud Dupree doesn't exit with a hip injury and Rashad Weaver is not on the field on a 3rd and 17, in which Patrick Mahomes scrambles, and in which probably the two most sure tacklers on the team, David Long Jr. and Andrew Adams, take bad angles to hit the quarterback, Titans probably win the game. If the Titans have all these things go wrong, in the end zone on a 2-point conversion, Travis Kelce de-helmets Josh Kalu, and they call the penalty on Kalu, and Kansas City gets another shot. If they don't convert that 2-point conversion, if they were like saying, hey, they were both going at each other, no flag, they don't convert the 2-point conversion,
you win.
Titans win. So literally everything had to go right for Kansas City in order for Kansas City to win last night at home.
Do you think they view it that way?
Kansas City? Mm-hmm. No. They view it as, we hung tough. We're tested and battle adversity, and we hung tough.
I would be interested to hear what they think, because you're going to have people in both parties. But do they view it as we hung tough, or, oh my gosh, we went to overtime with a backup quarterback?
Who is they? Kansas City fans or Andy Reid?
Both.
I think Andy Reid thinks, I don't want to play that team again.
Like, I cannot believe that we just went to overtime in our house with their backup quarterback in his second career start in the NFL.
Oh, I don't think Andy Reid wants the Titans. And when I say he doesn't want the Titans, I don't think he wants a game against the Titans in the playoffs with Ryan Tannehill.
He's what, 3-9 against the Titans all time?
3-9 against the Titans. Now, Kansas City fans, they probably think like, our team found a way to win. We are a tough team. We are this. We are. But I do not think that I think Andy Reid knows the Titans are a bad matchup. And you know why I know this? Because early in the game, there was a lot of pushing by the Chiefs at the Titans. I thought they could have called some personal fouls on both teams early in the game, but specifically Kansas City. And I think Kansas City kind of incited that. And what I mean by that is Collinsworth kept talking about it on the broadcast where he's like, yeah, last year in that game in Nashville, I think the Chiefs felt like the Titans just out-physicaled them and beat them up, and they didn't want that to happen today, and that's why the Chiefs are pushing back at the Titans. Well, Collinsworth knows that because Andy Reid told him that in the broadcaster meeting. And so I'm convinced that Andy Reid knows, like, man, they're tough and physical, and they smack us square in the face every time we play them. And that he told his guys, hey, we're going to smack them first and see if that works. And it didn't. Like, it really didn't affect the game. The Titans still dominated the game physically. I don't think Andy Reid wants any part of the Titans again. Now, the fans in Kansas City, they're probably like, we got Patrick Mahomes, baby! But, again, the Titans are a bad matchup for Kansas City. And so everything had to go right for them to win. But to your point about what people are saying, I don't remember exactly what we said. I do remember that Floyd never had asked Ian for a cut-up ever, but he did ask Ian to cut up all the things and all the times that I said the Titans weren't going to beat the Chiefs. And then we played them in like a 2-minute little montage.
2 minutes.
That's
lengthy.
It was quite long. But I don't think we came on the air after the Titans beat the Chiefs and said, Titans got lucky yesterday. Though I'm sure I probably,
thought that maybe a little bit.
Hinted at it. Mm-hmm. Or, I may have said it. Like, oh, yeah, well, this guy just drops the ball back. And Rashad Evans just picks it up and runs into the end zone for a touchdown. It's like, all I'll say, though, is Steve McNair would have played. Now, this is one thing that did get up my keister last night. Nick Westbrook-Akine. Paul Kaharski asked him about the wide receivers not having a catch. Now, we all know the wide receivers suck. But Nick Westbrook-Akine was asked about that after the game. Here's what Nick Westbrook-Akine said.
Receivers on this team, since AJ's gone, haven't produced a lot. Today, you guys, I think, collectively produced nothing. Where do you go from here on that?
We just go back to work. No one was saying this, earlier in the year, when we were making plays. So I'm just gonna.
Don't need to hear anything else.
When were they making plays?
What is he talking about?
Yeah. When earlier in the year were they making plays, and when did we ever not criticize this wide receiver core?
When did we ever not talk about the wide receivers on this team?
We always talked about the wide receivers on this team.
We talked about it before they traded AJ.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it after they traded AJ. We talked about it at training camp.
Beginning of the season,
preseason
after
games.
Every single game, we talked about the receiving core.
I mean, we have never not said that this receiving core sucks.
And also, what plays is he talking about?
I don't know. They have one touchdown, and it was a play in which Indianapolis thought the ball was going underneath to Jeff Swaim, and Robert Woods snuck in behind, and Tannehill just dropped it off to him in the end zone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean,
it's not like this receiving core took all of a sudden a very drastic 180 and they were elite in the beginning of the season and now they're struggling.
I'm trying to think of all the plays the wide receivers have made, like big plays wide receivers have made for the Titans this year. Tannehill hit Kyle Phillips to set up the missed field goal by Randy Bullock against the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't hit any big ones worth noting against Buffalo.
No. Dontrell Hilliard had the most memorable moment against the Bills.
When?
Didn't he score that touchdown?
No, that was the Giants. He had those 2 touchdowns
that
against
was
the Giants.
I'm
trying to think. Okay, so
Westbrook-Akine had that big catch against the Commanders.
He did have that big catch against the Commanders. That one catch. Which was a big one. Robert Woods had an X play against the Raiders where, he ran kind of a dig route and Tannehill hit him over the middle and he gained like 20-something yards.
I think there was one to Hollister that technically counted, right? As an X play?
Colts game against Stephon Gilmore.
Yes.
But we've never not thought that Cody Hollister sucks on this program. And really, I don't feel like I've ever gotten any pushback about thinking that Cody Hollister sucks.
No, I don't think I don't think that deserves pushback.
So what is Nick Westbrook-Akine talking about?
I don't know.
Crazy.
Unless inside the locker room they're saying, everybody thinks that you're great.
Well, that's because if they win and everybody sucks, but like the other team just stinks more, or something happens, Vrabel's like, hey, I'm never going to criticize us in a win. It's like, well, guess what? We do.
But also, no need to be sassy, Nick. Just, we'll get back to work. We got to be better.
And I didn't even think for Paul that question was very sassy.
No, I think that's a fair question.
That the receivers did.
The receivers didn't have a single catch.
Boy, could you imagine if the Titans had beaten the Kansas City Chiefs without the receivers having one single catch?
That has to go down in some sort of Guinness book.
Again, that's why Andy Reid doesn't want to play the Titans again.
Yeah.
Because the receiver, if Tannehill plays, the receivers are going to catch the ball. And maybe not well, but they're going to catch it. 615-737-1025 is our phone number here on the program. We haven't talked much about what the Colts did today because, honestly, I've kind of moved on from the Colts. But apparently the Colts not only fired Frank Reich, which I guess it was kind of trending that way, but then what they did on the other side of it. Wow. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Look for partly to mainly clear skies as we head through the overnight tonight. Temperatures drop back to the mid-50s. A gorgeous Tuesday to get out and vote. We'll look for temperatures in the mid-70s with sunshine. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Well, I'm a orthopedic surgeon, board certified.
Meet Dr. John Herzog, who's certainly done his share of knee and hip replacements. But these days, he's encouraging his patients to look at regenerative medicine options, now available at QC Kinetics.
I'm kind of the anti-surgeon right now, and a lot of my buddies, if they hear me talking, they're going to give me a call.
Dr. Herzog says advances in regenerative medicine can give your achy joints lasting relief, using highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
We take the fluid out of you, we concentrate it, and put it in an area where they couldn't normally get to and facilitate healing.
Are you suffering from constant pain due to arthritis or injury? Maybe it's time to look at alternatives to drugs and surgery at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in these exciting treatments.
What could be more natural than using your own body to heal yourself?
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Attention hockey fans, come see Northeastern and Western Michigan face off at this year's Music City Hockey Classic in a matchup of two of the NCAA's top 20 ranked college teams at Bridgestone Arena Friday, November 25th, 6:30 p.m. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. Let the puck drop and the excitement begin. Northeastern Huskies versus the Western Michigan Broncos in Nashville, November 25th.
Robbie Stanley.
It really doesn't matter until the pads come on and you have to hit each other, you have to block.
Joe Rexrode.
Reliable, go out and make some plays for you. Solid player.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
He's still Jeff Saturday, though. I think he's a great leader.
Has he, I don't know, has he coached before?
Coached high school football.
Okay.
Down Georgia.
Yep.
Hey.
Oh, okay,
I've been down Georgia. High school football down there.
It means more
down there. Different. It's different down there.
Yeah.
All right, I'm pumped for Jeff. Let's go, Jeff.
Let's go, Jeff.
Let's go, Jeff. I didn't know what they were going to do. Obviously, Gus Bradley's been a head coach multiple times in the past. He's on the staff. First year as defense coordinator. First year, though. Maybe he's going to be a head coach. Bubba Ventrone, special teams coordinator, has had a lot of success. People have looked at him to be a head coach, thought maybe he was going to be a head coach. Jim Irsay said, we're thinking outside the box, thinking outside the building, thinking outside the team. Let's bring something back from the past. It's a staple of greatness. Let's bring back Jeff Saturday. I appreciate that. Hey, good luck out there, Jeff.
Good luck. Yeah, good luck, Jeff.
Maybe Jeff suit up too. Maybe Jeff
Yeah.
suit up too. I don't know if he's going to be able to play offensive line. I don't think he'll have as many MAs. That is an interesting one, though. Certainly fascinating.
So there you go. Jeff Saturday is the new head coach, the interim head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. And I will say this. I thought about it, and I didn't watch much of the Colts game yesterday against the Patriots, but it was on the red zone whenever they got to the red zone, which wasn't very often for either team. And, I mean, look, I have seen enough of Sam Ehlinger to know that he might be a backup in the NFL. Probably not, but he might be. So the Colts are full on tanking, which is what I think the decision that they made after they lost to the Titans and they realized they weren't going to win the division was to decide to tank. And so they benched the quarterback and they put this guy in there who might not even be a backup, and they're going to try to win games. Then they lose a game and they fire the offensive coordinator. So they fire the quarterback one week. Then they fire the offensive coordinator the next week. Then they lose. And I'm like, well, who's going to get fired over this one? And apparently it was the head coach. Now, my guess is that part of this was probably Frank Reich going to Jim Irsay saying, like, we can't win with Sam Ehlinger. Because I saw enough on Red Zone last night to know that they can't compete with him at quarterback, saying, like, if you're just going to do this, then just fire me. And he did. So they fired Frank Reich. Well, I saw that, and I got a little sad.
Because you're afraid that they might go find someone competent?
I was.
It's a fair concern.
And then they hired Jeff Saturday to be their interim coach. And regardless of if this means that Jeff Saturday is going to have a chance to be the head coach for real or not.
I'm sure he does have a chance at being the head coach.
Well, it tells me that Jim Irsay's head is so far up his ass that there is no chance that the Indianapolis Colts get this right.
To me, this feels like Jim Irsay trying to chase after the glory days. And instead of bringing that team into the modern era, it's let's go back to what worked then and try and make it work now.
But wouldn't you hire somebody, I'm sure off the glory days teams, that there's somebody who is coaching football actively?
Or why don't you just hire somebody that is coaching football actively, regardless of if they were in the glory days or not?
But again, he's not their full-time coach.
No, he's their
He's
interim.
the interim coach. But this is so stupid. I mean, I've never seen anything like this in my life.
This is basically like, let's bring in like a camp counselor for the rest of the year, and then we'll just hope and pray that we can get a top 5 pick and find our quarterback of the future. But if this is like a legitimate, let's try and see if Jeff Saturday can be our head coach, which I feel like there is probably a little bit there of let's put him as the interim, see what he can make out of this team, and then we'll assess if he can be the head coach of the future. I have to believe that's just a sliver of that there with Irsay.
So I'm already seeing this, but apparently a lot of people are really pissed off about that because of the Rooney Rule and the minority coaching candidates around the league that feel like they just got skipped over for, old buddy who's on TV, just hire him. And
we love him here.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of I do wonder if the NFL is going to say, no, we're not. Jeff Saturday's not going to be your full-time head coach. I don't know if they can really say that.
Yeah,
but
does the NFL have the right? Like, if Jim Irsay wants to hire Jeff Saturday, what's stopping him?
The NFL finds a way to tell people, hey, do this. Don't do that.
Or are the Colts going to interview, enough to fulfill the Rooney Rule and then just hire Jeff Saturday just because we love him?
I think the NFL, the Texans really wanted to hire Josh McCown a couple years ago, who Jeff Saturday
coached in high school.
Yeah, he had no experience.
Yeah,
and they wanted to hire him to be the head coach because
we love him here.
Well, they prayed together, so that was like their thing. So they wanted to hire him, but I think like they were going to hire him, and the league was like, no, and that's why they ended up hiring Lovie Smith because it was like, no, like we're getting sued right now by Brian Flores. We can't be just hiring this guy because you guys pray together. That kind of thing. And so I don't know where this is going to go. I just know that the Colts are incredibly incompetent. I don't think they're going to be bad enough to get the top pick in this year's draft because they've already won 3 games. They might win another game, though I don't know how with no quarterback and no coach that they're going to win another game. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Indianapolis Colts end up picking like 4th and they end up drafting Will Levis. And while I'm not Chad Withrow and think that Will Levis is some bum, I certainly don't think that Will Levis is Andrew Luck. So I'm not really all that concerned about it. And clearly Jim Irsay's off the rocker. So maybe this just is a sign that the Colts will stay bad because just like with Jacksonville, it starts at the top. And so maybe that's good news right there. So at least that's another good thing that came up today. But the Titans did lose and the Vols did lose, which we didn't hit on much today or really at all. But Georgia's just a better team, so make of that what you will. Any disagreement with that?
How about them Tigers, baby?
Yeah, how about that? Eddie George is next with the Eddie George Show. Stillman and Company. We'll see you tomorrow.